I tell her get low, gon' rock with me. You gon' mess around now and get a shopping spree. I'm now in your possession like apostrophe. Oh, enough with all the talking, I just told her say less and do more, do more, do more, do more. Oh, I tell her do more, do more, do more, do more. Go ahead, set the mood right, dirty like a food fight. You been working all day, load it up in 2 nights. Do more, do more, do more, do more. Oh, I tell her, and she gon' work that right. I'ma mess around and drown when she drop that down. No more phone me blowing up, I like not right now. Oh, I swear that she in next the way she work that mouth. Whoa, automatic cause she move, she be cousin static. I be straight up like an addict, might be coming addict. Now I gotta have it, had enough with all the moves, yeah, move here. Ooh, let me grab it now, I'm on 1 year. Now I'm not done yet, told her wait right here. I'll be back one sec, this is just time out, this is not no way. Go and grab that friend, now you know what's next. Stay. You been rockin' with an all-star, baby, and I know you coming early like a five-star, baby. Packing out the seat, this ain't no hostile, baby, and they know me in the city like a mob star. Oh, I tell her get low, gon' rock with me. You gon' mess around now and get a shopping spree. I'm now in your possession like apostrophe. Oh, enough with all the talking, I just told her say less and do more, do more, do more, do more. Oh, I tell her do more, do more, do more, do more. Go ahead, set the mood right, dirty like a food fight. You been working all day, load it up in 2 nights. Do more, do more, do more, do more. Oh, I tell her,
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide, never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dump Show, as Bitcoin just got a massive drop to the downside, ripping a huge, I mean, what is this wick here? This is a 7% wick to the downside, guys. I want to talk about why we got this drop down. May have had something to do with clearing some liquidity to the downside. Are we going to see more downside here for Bitcoin, guys, or is this just a liquidity grab to get another big move to the upside? We're going to be covering it all on tonight's live stream. We're going to be giving you guys the key levels, and I did degenerately go ahead and catch that knife. Basically, just based off liquidations here, guys. I will just pull this up really quickly. I did go ahead and catch that knife here. Currently up $1,300. I may just close this right now. There is, to be quite honest with you guys, I don't do this often, but this was just based off of massive liquidations in the market here. You guys can see if I pull up these. I'm just going to jump into it, guys. I'll come back to chat in just a second. But if we come on down here to that liquidation heat map, you guys can see we did have some liquidity sitting down here at about 94K. And you can see we just came down, we swept those lows, and now we are getting the reversal back to the upside. Now, again, is this going to be a big reversal, or is this going to be a lackluster retracement before another continuation to the downside? We're going to go ahead and break it all down on tonight's live stream. But what is going on, Mafia? Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys here. Let me go ahead and jump into chat real quick. Thank you guys for tuning in. Smash that like button if you have not already. Every 100 likes we get gives you guys some extra chances to win some free crypto on tomorrow's live stream. I think today is Thursday. There it is. But yeah, we're going to be giving away some Solana. We hit our like goal yesterday. We hit our like goal the day before. I don't think we hit it the day before that. But yeah, if we hit 1,000 likes, we'll add another $100 in Solana giveaways to tomorrow's live stream. But let's see. Shout out to Digital Pencil says, first liquidation story of the season. Bull market is still early. Shout out to Digital Pencil. But yeah, guys, huge wick to the downside. Does this mean that we can't continue down? Absolutely not. I'm going to break down the charts here. There are some things on Market Cypher B calling for some more downside here. As we did reject, we got that big push above $100,000 into that $104,000 level. We were live late last night just watching price rip into that beautiful $100,000 price target, and now we are right back down below it. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're scared. Drop a candle in the chat if you're ready to make some money off these moves. Shout out to you guys. Let's see what we got in the chat. We got Michael in the chat. What is going on, bro? He said, look at that massive wick. Yeah, this wick is insane. I mean, like right now it is sitting at about, like a 7.5% wick here. Pretty insane. And actually, if we go ahead and pull up exo charts here, guys, you can see we did come down to, we did get a bunch of liquidations here, as you guys can see. Longs got absolutely destroyed to the downside. You can see the open interest coming down. Net longs also closing pretty aggressively here. If we pull up the net shorts, you can see the shorts all panic entering at the end of this move down have now been smashed to the upside with that push up. So this is definitely a, in my opinion, a liquidity-fueled move. I guess every move is a liquidity-fueled move, but, we get the drop to the downside. You can see those liquidation bubbles here on Exo chart showing you those liquidations did occur. Net longs coming out showing you that was longs closing. And now as we push up, you can see now the late shorts are now getting punished here. Let me hide the open interest. But you can see the late shorts are getting wrecked here as price pushes up. You can see those net shorts coming down on that big green candle. And we just pull up the open interest here, guys, like massive liquidations over these two candles. And, also understanding that we did have the liquidity sitting down here starting at about $94,000, right? We came down. And, these hot yellow boxes, guys, do indicate where those liquidations are sitting. And sometimes price likes to come down and flush out those liquidations. And we've been talking about these liquidations for a long time, not just these here, guys, but we also have a lot of liquidations just sitting all below these lows, which could potentially fuel a continuation to the downside to come wash everybody out, scare everybody out of the market. But it is really funny. People are probably super scared right now, but it's like, guys, Bitcoin's at 97K. Doesn't mean we can't go lower, though. But yeah, let me go ahead and bada boom, bada bing. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna move this on over here. I'm actually gonna take some profit off this real quick, guys. Up about 12%. This is a 111,000 long here. I'm trying to capitalize on that small move. Just bear with me while I take some partials off of this. Bada boom, bada bing, and we'll close. What should I take? I'm gonna take half. I'm just gonna take half here. This is really just meant to be a small scalp position. Or should I just close the whole thing? Should we just lock it up here, guys? I'm going to close half. We'll close half. Bada boom. Bada bing. Come on. There we go. All right. Profits locked in. And yeah, I'm going to move my stop loss to entry. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to close this whole thing. I'm going to close the whole trade there, guys. Lock in a quick $1,000 for the last 15 minutes. And I'm just going to let price kind of recover here and give us some context. Let me pull up chat here. I lost chat. Come on, where are you guys? There you are. Okay. Hey, shout out to Coin Watcher. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat. Said, oh, my God, I had an $89,000 limit order set, and I'm up $2,500 bucks. What do? I set the stop loss at 96K. Hey, shout out to Coin Watcher. Let's go, bro. Quick little $2,500 bucks, never hurt nobody. And thank God, we came up if it hit a limit order. Thank God we didn't just keep dumping there and get you wrecked. So shout out to Coin Watcher. Congrats on your gain, bro. I mean, hey, I would maybe take partials, move that stop loss to break even, and then just either enjoy the continuation to the upside or close the position and walk away with $2,500 bucks. Not too bad for a hard day's work, right? So shout out to Coin Watcher. But yeah, guys, let me just go ahead. I want to jump into these levels really quickly. As we did get the quick drop, I kind of want to just cover things real quick. Again, based off what I just showed you guys, this was, in my opinion, pretty heavily based off of liquidations. And we were talking about in the premium Discord earlier today, as we were coming down and testing this value area high, saying like, this is kind of the level we don't want to lose. And talking about if we do lose this level, price was very likely to go to the POC and the value area low. I did not think that it was going to nuke down to $90,000 though. But hey, we got it. We lost that key level. We got the drop to the downside. Caught that nice little scalp long. That was just a degenerate position that I entered right before the live stream there. But that just goes to show how quickly you can make money trading when you, again, that was pretty risky. I don't want to act like that was a sound long position, but it was really just based off the liquidations getting kicked, the longs getting kicked out of the market. Typically, when you see those longs all washed out of the market like that, they get wrecked, and then typically you will get a lot of FOMO shorts at the bottom of that candle, and then that fuels the rip back to the upside. And it's kind of like a swing failure pattern, right? Now, this is kind of hard to measure as a swing failure pattern because, you have lows here, bada boom, right? People are long from the bottom of the range. Their stop losses and liquidation levels are going to be below this point. And just, below this range, we had a lot of liquidations. And even below this wick here, obviously, no guarantees that we were definitely going to come down to that level. But bada boom, right? Came down, swept those lows as well. And then we get the FOMO shorts, late shorts entering at the bottom here. And then when you get the bounce, right, all those shorts wind up getting liquidated, as I was showing here on the net shorts and the net longs, right? Net longs get absolutely kicked out of the market, right? And then the net shorts get kicked out on the way up. Everyone who shorted down here is then underwater, forced to close their position at a loss, pushing this, just showing that the net shorts are closing, right? Giving you that fuel to the upside, because when you close a short position, it creates, or when you get liquidated or stopped out of a short position, it does create a market buy, which adds that fuel to that push to the upside. And that was basically the theory that I was kind of using to just enter into that really quick trade. I had finger on the trigger, ready to hop out of that for a small loss if it didn't go my way. We also came down to this volume point of control at about 92.1. But this is something that you literally need to execute like in the second, right? Like we see that getting hit. We're reading the actual liquidations coming into the market. I took the shot, jumped in, grabbed my bag, jumped out, quick $1,000, right? Not too shabby. But the question is, are we going to continue down? Now, I will say this, guys. Market Cypher B is technically not looking, the best, right? Number one, we've come up. We've swept the highs here. If I pull up the daily here. This was, look at that. Oh my God. Hide the TA here real quick. Look at that candle, guys. Look at that candle. That's what you call volatility right there. But one thing to notice here, guys, is, one of those things that we've been very, very careful about as Bitcoin has been obviously extremely bullish lately. One thing we've been very careful of is the front run of $100,000 for a bigger pull to the downside. Now, number one, we did wind up shorting the top here in the premium Discord when we came up to about 99, almost $100,000, right? We came up to like 99.8, but we did at $100,000 on the CME exchange. So, we did have that short set up in the premium. We did take it down to this level. We took the scalp long from this level. But, was this the swing failure of $100,000? Like, was this just to come up and sweep all these highs before reversing price and bringing us down to lower prices? And it's very hard to say. One thing I can say is, if we pull up XO charts here, let me zoom in a bit. Bada boom. If we take a look here, come on back in time. Zoom in. Let me turn off the TPO profile real quick. But yeah, when we came up here to about 99.8, if we zoom in here a bit, I'll be honest, right? Like the liquidity grab was not very intense up here, right? Like we didn't really have if we take up the open interest, right? Like we didn't get any super big dumps on open interest here. So the liquidity was not necessarily fully swept here. And yesterday's live stream, we were talking about part of the reason why we were anticipating a potential rip up above $100,000 yesterday was the fact that we looked at that liquidity on the heat maps and we saw that we did. Let me see if I could find it here. Where are we at? Today is the 5th. So yeah, we were, let me see if I could find the exact chart we were looking at. Let me refresh this. I think it was on the 7-day. So yeah, yesterday was the 4th. Yeah, so looking at the heat map here, guys, yesterday on the live stream, we were looking at like, hey, we came up, we swept some liquidity, we came down, but we did still have extra liquidity sitting above. Oh no, what am I doing? How did I get that far away? Well, same situation here, right? You sweep some liquidity, you come down, then you grab the rest of it. But same situation here, right? We came up, we tapped into some of the liquidity, but we still had this liquidity sitting above 100K. And this was part of the reason why we were anticipating that potential push above those highs into that $101 to $102,000 price target. Let me actually pull up the TA from yesterday. Go ahead and unhide that TA. And I believe this is it right here. So let me come down to a lower time frame, right? So we came down here and we said, hey, we came down to this value area low. If we stuck it, we were looking for a potential move up to the value area high. Once we broke above that value area high and held it as support, there was going to be an opportunity to potentially come up and sweep that liquidity that was sitting above $100,000, right? Again, visualized right here, right? We had those highs at about 99.3, 99.4, liquidity sitting above. What happens, right? I can even zoom in here. We have those hot spots of liquidity sitting here. We expect that to act as a magnet for price. We know once we flip that key level of resistance, which again was going to be this value area high /786 that we were looking at, it was going to be an opportunity to come sweep that liquidity above. Now, if this was to just come up and sweep liquidity, we could potentially see this continuation to the downside. And on top of that, guys, if we take a look at Market Cipher B, another thing I actually want to talk about. I think we talked about this last night at 10 o'clock when we were live, when we were hitting 100K. These money flow crossovers into the red on a lot of time frames are going to be very high probability fakeouts, right? We talked about this a lot yesterday saying, hey, money flows in the red here, but in a bull market, we even go back to 2021 to kind of show how this plays out. I'm not going to do it right now because I've done it 100 times. But if you go back there and you look at the money flow, like typically the money flow comes out, it fakes out, and it comes right back into the green for another continuation to the upside. That was another part of the reason why we were anticipating a potential move above these highs. But the problem here is we don't want this to end in an SFP on like the daily. If we wind up getting an SFP and we start closing these candles down below here, that could potentially point towards a little bit more downside. Now, we also have this weekly red dot that is potentially looking to print here. Now, again, are we anticipating this to give us an absolute dump down to zero? No, not necessarily, right? Because we're in a bull market, but that weekly red dot could potentially indicate a little bit more of a cool-off. Now, remember, guys, cool-offs in a bull market, even to the tune of 20 to 30%, are not unheard of, right? And it doesn't mean the bear market is here. It typically just means we're going to cool off. We're going to wreck all the longs that are entering in on the way back up. We clean out those liquidations, and then we get the next big move to the upside. So not impossible to pull back here, in my opinion, based off the weekly red dot. The six-day red dot is now printing as well. But again, not expecting these to necessarily bring us to zero, at least as of right now. Now, if we do continue down, funny enough, we did look at the lower levels to the downside yesterday. Let me go ahead and hide this. The lower range does still remain exactly the same here, guys, right? If I pull up let's go to the 1 hour, key levels to the downside. We have this previous volume profile, and it's pretty crazy to see how perfectly this golden pocket was tapped. Now, this is, again, a trade that, this is actually a key level that we were looking at for long positions in the premium Discord. But in a situation like that, the long position that I just took, that's a very risky trade. It's a very active trade. It's like you have to get in immediately before coming up. So I was unable to even put a setup in the premium Discord at this level because we literally spent like half a second down there. This still was a very key level of support. We've been looking at on the live streams here. Value area high at 92.216 is a key level of support. If we do wind up, right, it's all a game of volume profiles, guys. If we pull up the right here, right, this is your volume profile down below. Once we got below this value area high, we anticipated a move to the POC and then the value area low. We obviously got a massive liquidation wick in the meantime, but we may be able to come down here and start to interact with this value area low. But this was our key level to the downside leading up to this big drop, right? You lose this value area high, you expect the POC, you expect the value area low, and then obviously we just shot right through it. But once you break this value area low, where are you looking down to? You're looking down to your next volume profile with that value area high sitting at 92.173, and then the POC golden pocket confluence was sitting here at about 91.251. And I do believe if I pull up our anchored VWAPs, we did have look at this. You can't make this up. Guys, you cannot make this up. Look at the tab of that anchored VWAP right in perfect confluence with that golden pocket. And this is why I was looking at this as a key level, right? We have some kind of confluence there. We have the POC of this range. We had the anchored VWAP coming through, and then we had the golden pocket as well. And that is the level that we wound up bouncing off of. Insane to see that anchored VWAP tap that wick to the penny. But these are the key levels, guys. Like in a dramatic move like that, unless you were catching some kind of like super aggressive long based off the order flow, based on the liquidations like I just caught and closed in full. Unless you were trying to catch something like that, there really is no setup to be had down there. At least at that point, we just kind of dipped in and ripped back out. But those are the levels, right? Like the levels still, although there was no setup to take, a legitimate, longer-term long position, the levels hold up. Golden pocket, if we do continue down here, let's say we continue down, we start wiggling around this value area low. If we lose the value area low, we can look to come down to this value area high. Once we get stuck under here, you're looking to go to the POC, lose this blue box, looking to go down to the value area low, sitting at about $88,315. And this is a level that I've had my eye on for quite some time. I actually would not hate a bigger move down to these levels to potentially load up on some much bigger long positions and, potentially, if the altcoins decide to follow a little bit, maybe pick up on some of those altcoins that we covered on yesterday's altcoin market update. If you guys missed that video, go check it out. Dropped a lot of sauce in that video. Hey, shout out to 3 Diglets. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Dude, 3 Diglets is crazy with the super chats lately, man. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate you so much. He said, BTC is dying, man. It's dead. It's effing dead. Shout out to 3 Diglets. It's going to 0. It's, I'm not panicking right now, guys. This is, again, in a bull market, these drops feel crazy. They feel terrifying. It's like, oh, my God, what is going to happen? We're going to 0. Oh, my God. But, again, like, we're sitting at $97,000, right? $96,000. Bull markets will get that volatility, that additional volatility of these like 16% drops, and then another, 8% pump back to the upside. You have that volatility here right now. Let's see. Shout out to Stacy, said, oh my God, bro, volume is crazy. Not going to lie. Chat, not going to lie, chat. I kind of want crypto to calm down a lot the next couple of days and be boring because this is too crazy right now. Yeah, again, if you're out there trading, guys, trading this crazy volatility is very, very... Again, we just closed that trade for $1,000 profit, but, we do this every day. And, again, that was such an aggressive trade, I couldn't even put in the premium Discord. It was literally, there was no setup to be had here, even if you come down to the 1 minute. Like, right, there was literally just, it was all based off the idea of the liquidations getting knocked out of the longs getting completely washed out of the market. And the reason I closed it so aggressively is because this move up was fueled by a lot of liquidations, right, which could potentially mean that, maybe it's not going to be a healthy move to the upside. And that's why I wanted to get out here in case we do continue that drop to the downside. But all the key levels, shout out to Tony D. Thank you for the super chat. Said, shout out to all 2,500 of you. Welcome to the best trading community on YouTube. Hopefully you guys were in there in the beginning watching us grab that quick 1K. Oh, God, I'm not going to lie, guys. If it goes back up, it's trading's crazy, right? Because there was a time in my life where, I was praying. I was praying for like to make $50 or $100, and I know a lot of you guys are in that kind of situation. You're at that part of your journey, and now it's like, if we rip back up, I'm going to be upset about losing that or making that $1,000. Sometimes the feeling of missing out on gains can be even worse than losing money. But you want to make sure you do not act on that, right? You want to make sure that you do not trade based off of that. I don't care, and even like for me, sometimes it feels like, oh, man, I should have held that trade, again, if we rip back to the upside. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you're out there and you're trading and, maybe you're further along, maybe you're not as far along, maybe you're in a similar place. And I know that seems out of touch, but I just want to let you guys know that, like, I started where everybody else is, right? Like, I was happy with a 20% gain on my $50 trade, right? And now I'm in a place where it's like, it's just numbers on a screen for me. It's crazy, right? Because that's kind of a good thing because it removes a lot of the emotion of trading. But, it just really is crazy, right? Like, $1,000 is $1,000 no matter what, right? So you're never gonna hurt. It's never gonna be bad to walk away with that money. I used to have to work for over a week to make $1,000, and now we can just make it quickly before the live stream. So yeah, I just, I do get those emotions, right? If this thing continues to rip up, I'm gonna feel that FOMO, right? But again, you have to kind of take a deep breath, right? Again, even if you're not in a trade, right? Take a deep breath. Price can rip up and rip down. Missed gains are none of your business. If you start chasing missed gains like, oh, man, like I could have shorted this. Full disclosure, I did not short this, right? So you could think to yourself, oh, my God, I could have shorted this and made a ton of money. But that's none of your business. It doesn't matter, right? Like, because you could have made a ton of money on this long. You could have made a ton of money on this short. You could have made a ton of money on this long. You could have made a ton of money on this short. You're not going to catch every move in the market. And you got to make sure that you're paying yourself, and just don't lose touch of what trading's all about. It's not about making that life-changing trade. This will make you go broke very fast, right? It's about making money consistently over time, right? And it only takes $200 a day to replace a full-time income. For you to fire your boss, for most people in America, it takes $200 a day, right? And you're going to lose money some days too, right? But you're going to make more than $200 some days as well. But yeah, and we also did take a loss today, right? I did take a loss on a little scalp long earlier today in the Discord. Got in, didn't look good, got stopped out, but it was a small loss, right? I think I lost like $300 on that trade, just made 1,000 there, on top of the other longs that paid us out earlier. But let's see, anyone else holding long-term like me and just continue buying? Yeah, shout out to Bright. One thing I do want to mention, guys, as a trader, right, a lot of people might think, especially if you're new here, you're new to trading in general, a lot of people might think like, even in a bull market, like when we shorted this top over here, right, and people were like, what the heck are you shorting for? It's a bull market, right? But when it comes to short-term trading, right, there was so much money to be made here. We made good profit on that 9% move to the downside. But just to be clear, 90% of my money is in long-term spot holdings, right? So, like, even when I look to short, that does not mean that I'm selling my spot bags. I think Bitcoin's going to zero, right? It's just day playing the volatility, right? Just day playing the drop down, the push up, and that's kind of like my earned income, right? As a trader, that's our earned income. You have to work to make that money, and then I take that money, and then I roll it into, right now specifically, dollar cost averaging into a bunch of altcoins. And again, if you missed my altcoin update video, go check that out, guys. We dropped it yesterday. Tons of sauce in there, and a lot of those coins have not moved yet still, and I'm kind of praying that they pull back first a little bit so I can continue dollar cost averaging on the way down. But simply put, guys, key levels of support to the downside remain exactly the same. And hopefully, if you guys have been here watching the channel for quite some time, hopefully you guys, where am I at? My TA is hidden. I was like, what the heck? Hopefully, you see these key levels and like when you find that confluence, guys, finding the key levels is a skill in its own, right? You have to understand where there's multiple levels of confluence. And with that anchored VWAP golden pocket, we did get the bounce. I wish we were kind of hanging out around here a little bit so I could talk about kind of what I'd look for to enter a trade. But again, I just kind of had to fire on that really quickly. But yeah, those are the key levels, guys. Like right now, we really don't want to lose. Let me hide this local volume profile real quick. We really do not want to lose this value area low, right? We start losing this value area low, we may be able to fill this wick all the way back down into this volume profile. And at that point, we will be at risk of coming in here, losing the POC, and coming down to this value area low. And again, that would not make me bearish on Bitcoin long term, right? If you're scared right now, if you're out there and you're scared, just understand, zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. Bitcoin is still going up, right? Just not locally. And it, again, is very normal to have pullbacks in a bull market. And if you're thinking like, what the heck, just come back to 2021 and you can see that. Massive move up, and then you get a little pullback. A nice little 20% pullback, 19% pullback. That was a little aggressive on my percentage pull there, right? 12% pullback, big move up. Then you get a 31% pullback. A lot of people probably thought it was all over here. What happens? You put in a higher low and you continue to the upside. So even here, right, we had this massive, I think it was a 50% dump, 55% dump, and then we come up and we break the high again. And then that was finally the tippy top as we were putting in that weekly bearish divergence, which is oh so beautiful there. Higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves, money flow coming out, bear market time. So yeah, just keep that in mind, guys. Pullbacks are okay. I don't think the bull market is over just yet. I'll tell you this. If I think the bull market's over and I think we're going to zero, I will be the first one to let you know. And I'll let you know the key levels you should be looking down below to then rebuy your spot bags. But right now, that was pretty much just liquidation volatility right there, guys. And again, Bitcoin's still at 96K. So those are the key levels I'm looking at. Again, I'll just read these out for you guys. Value area lows is the key level you really want to hold right now. 95,233 or 95,150, I'll call it. You lose that, probably get headed down towards 92,173. Lose that. Obviously, you have this golden pocket / anchored VWAP that I just pulled up, right? Just simple levels here. And then once you start losing this anchored VWAP, I would definitely be looking lower down to the 80s, right? 88,000 all the way down to about 87,000. And we even have some lower levels below that, guys. We even have some lower levels below that. 84, 80. Remember, we have the CME gap at around, I think it's 75K. And there is confluence on that CME gap as well. So again, I'm not necessarily expecting that right this second, but that would be a max pain situation in my opinion. Get that big drop down. You have a lot of liquidity down here, right? And we could pull up, let me see if I can pull up the liquidity once more. Actually going to pull up the liquidate. Yeah, we'll pull up the heat map, actually. The heat map gives us a little bit more history here. Let me pull up the 1 month chart real quick. Come on. Okay, there we go. So if we take a look here, to be quite honest with you, there's not much there's not much that we can see on this, right? Like a lot of liquidity down here at around 74K, right? Again, that is confluent with that CME gap, I believe. I can recheck where that CME gap is. Let me go ahead and hide the TA here really quickly. And we are going to take a look at the altcoins in just a minute, guys. But with Bitcoin being so volatile right now, let me see, CME. I recommend everybody use this indicator if you're into CME gaps. Well, I don't know if you're into CME gaps, but if you like to look at them, this indicator is great, right? This indicator just plots them on your regular chart, so you don't have to go to the CME exchange chart. But yeah, that CME gap is, I'll just pull it up on CME so it's a little more clear. What am I doing? BTC. CME. There we go. So, yeah, that gap is sitting down here. Yeah, okay, so it's not 74. It's about 77 to about 80K, right? So you do have that CME gap. That could be, right? This is kind of like the worst case scenario in my opinion, right? Like come down to that gap. And to be quite honest, like just so you guys know, right? There is no guarantee. I know the hit rate on CME gaps is huge, right? It's like almost all the CME gaps get hit, but does not guarantee that they all get hit, right? Like there are sometimes gaps that never get filled, even though it is somewhat rare, to be quite honest, right? Like you see the gap here, just to show, like it is really crazy. CME gap here, price goes up, and then wink wonk, right? And then it comes right back to the upside. We can come back to 2021, right? Just to kind of see these CME gaps, right? Like this one never got filled. This one never got filled. I mean, I guess it gets filled on the way back down, technically. Yeah, it gives you a little bounce. But yeah, like you're not always just instantly going to come down there to fill that gap, right? A lot of people were probably looking here saying, oh my God, we have the CME gap down below. What happens? You never go see it and you continue up. So it's not 100% strategy, obviously. But in case we did see some kind of massive move down, this is sitting between, 77 and about $80,000. So just something to keep in mind. If we do get a bigger move down, that's going to be a big level. And again, that $80,000 786, it's not like 81,000, but if we did get a big move down, maybe start liquidating people into the CME gap, and then we hold that 786. That would be a pretty crazy correction in order to wash out all those long positions and then get a bigger break to the upside. And maybe that's where we go see 100, 150, 200K. But all definitely on the table here, guys, right? Like nothing goes up in a straight line. Now, what would that be from the top? That'd be a pretty aggressive dump. No, not even, right? Like we see this in bull markets, guys. Again, I'm bullish in the long term, but these washouts are definitely possible, right? Down to 77K, even 26%. That is not impossible. This would scare a lot of people out of the market, and they probably sell at the worst place. But you guys are not going to do that because you know where those key levels are. You understand the charts, and if you don't understand the charts, your boy Frankie Candles is here to help you out. Let me just get rid of that CME indicator real quick. But those are the key levels, guys. These are the big zones that I'm going to be looking at if we continue that move to the downside. So, yeah, but as of right now, we don't have to worry about those levels until we get there. Right now, I'm just going to be keeping an eye on this local profile. You can screenshot these levels to keep them on your chart if you wish. But, yeah, let me see if I can yeah, I mean, and you could just see how well these liquidations play out. I mean, you have that liquidity sitting down here. Price comes, sweep, rips that liquidity down, and then we wind up coming back to the upside. So, liquidation levels are absolutely insane, guys. These can really help you, especially even if you're just short-term trading. Like when all you need is a move from like here to here to make $1,000, you could jump in, grab your bag, jump out, and you could do that pretty nicely, especially when you're looking at liquidity, because even if this move was going to continue, back down, based off those liquidations, that big reversal and seeing those shorts, understanding, let me explain this really quickly on why this theory works with the liquidations. And it just has to do with how liquidations affect the market, right? When you're looking at price, right? When you're looking at price and you have a bunch of long positions, say from this level, let's say you have kind of like a range, right? You're sitting around here, right? Everyone's long in the bottom of the range. So you have to think to yourself, there's a bazillion longs here, right? People are long in these lows, long in the lows, long in the lows, found junk files. Oh no, we're getting hacked, guys. The SEC is hacking us. But yeah, you have all these longs sitting down here, right? And then sometimes, especially in a big parabolic move up, you have a lot of these stop losses left down below, right? So sometimes price will come up and then it will come down And once you break these into these liquidations, when you get stopped out or liquidated out of a long position, it creates a market sell order. That's why you get those big liquidations to the downside. Once you start tapping into this, right, and these stop losses, there's a little stop loss here, maybe someone has it here, maybe someone has it a little deeper down, some have it more shallow, right? And then all these liquidations, once price starts coming down, it's stop this guy out. That creates a market sell, keeps pushing down, right? And obviously this is happening on a grand scale. It's not just like 15 people in longs. But then someone else gets stopped out, that adds market sell. And then, so when you have these liquidity pockets, when you cross these levels where those stop losses start or those liquidation levels start, which you can view on these liquidation heat maps, right? When I pull this up, where's it at? Right, when we pull this up, we know all those stop losses and liquidation levels are sitting down here, right? And the reason you get that big wick is because once you start stopping out everybody, all the longs, it creates market sells, and that's why you get these big liquidation wicks, right? That's what that liquidation wick is, because it's just a cascade of effect of those longs getting stopped out. Smash the like button if you guys just learned something, but this is how we trade, right? Or this is a big theory that I use when I trade. I wait for those longs to get washed out of the market, and then as you see that big wick to the downside, all the retail gets very, very bearish, and they start shorting. And then what happens when you have a ton of shorts entering the market? It's going to do the exact opposite, right? You're going to have all these shorts entering the market, right? And all their stop losses, right? They're shorting on the way down, 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 right? But what happens if you start getting a bounce? You're going to start stopping out these guys, and that causes that big cascade of buy orders, because when you get stopped out of a short position, it creates a market buy, and that's what creates that flush to the downside and the flush to the upside. And that is what looks like to me what just happened here, right? We had all the longs get wrecked, and then as we pushed up, all those shorts get wrecked, and that's why you get the big washer machine move. It's just simple liquidity. If you know where to look for the liquidity in the market using those heat maps, or just using liquidation levels or whatever you're looking at, you could even just think to yourself, where are the stop losses in the market? Well, probably below this low, right? People longing this range, their stop losses are going to be below lows, right? If you're long here, where's your stop loss going to be? General retail theory, right, would say, hey, set it below a previous low. And if you don't want to have it super tight, you got to put it below this low. So that puts a bunch of stop losses down there. And then you can also say, well, there's probably a lot of people long from here. We were long from here, but we actually closed it, right? I actually held a portion of it, closed a portion of it here, and then we continued up. I took more profit on this last night before I went to sleep, and I just got stopped out in profit. Really, really nice trade there. But, all those people have their stop losses where? Probably below this wick, right? Or below the lows. And what happens? Price comes out, wash it, and just to visualize this for you guys, right? All these longs, I'm not going to put the target just to clean it up, right? All these longs are all those stop losses are probably sitting there, right? And then you have a bunch of people here. All their stop losses are all down here, right? And what does that do? And then even people longing over here, their stop losses are going to be all over here, right? So you have a lot of this liquidity. When I mention liquidity, all I'm mentioning is liquidations and stop losses in the market. So when you come down, all you got to do is start tapping into these people. These are the first to go. That causes the cascade. Then you start hitting these people. That continues the cascade, right? And then you finish it off with these guys, and then it sends it back up. And then, again, all those short positions that are now entering because they think price is, oh, my God, it's dumping, it's bearish. Let me short, short, short. What are all those short positions doing, right, on the move down? Oh, short, right? Short, 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 right? All that liquidity, when you start pushing up, all you got to do is start tapping these stop losses, and then you get that rip to the upside. So there you go. That is the way I view the market. That is simply what happened there. And again, it's verifiable by looking at those net longs and net shorts closing, the open interest, as well as seeing the liquidity literally sitting on the heat map. This is why I talk about these heat maps all the time, because if you can spot these levels, beforehand, you know where price might get gravitated to, and you know where you could potentially look for those really, really harsh bounces in anticipation of the shorts getting wrecked. So there you go. Hopefully I just taught you something. A lot of people will charge for this, but your boy Frankie Candles will give it to you for free. And I should have held the long position, guys. I'd be up $1 bazillion. I'm just kidding. Again, sometimes it does feel like that, but you can't complain, right? You got to kind of, even if you're in a different position, right? Like if you take a trade and you make $50, right? If you're just, $50 is a lot to some people. It's not a lot to other people, right? Some people, $100,000 isn't a lot, right? But, if you have, I just picture myself when I first started. I can only compare to when I first started, right? When I first started, if I were able to make $50 for sitting at my computer for an hour, right? Or even 20 minutes, depending on how fast the trade was, or even $100, $150, something like that. I used to have to work more than a day to make that. And then, and you're looking at the, you have this idea that if your trade kept going, you would have made $1 bazillion. But sometimes you have to come to reality and be like, hey, if you get paid $100 a day for work, right, and you got to work 5 days a week, and you just made $50 by sitting at your computer for 20 minutes, you got to take that for what it's worth, right? You usually have to work a full hour for that, and you just made it by sitting here and clicking buttons on your computer, right? It's not that easy. You can't just sit here and click buttons. You'll get wrecked. But I think you guys get what I mean. But let's see. Yeah, shout out to Demon says billions of dollars lost from people longing. Yeah, absolutely. There it is. There are those there's that billions of dollars. Everybody, oh no, I'm out. Let's see. Lars said this was just a huge scam week, washing out longs before major upside. 120K next, 110K already next week. Not seeing that CME gap until next bear market. Shout out to Lars. I hope so, bro. I hope so. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Yeah, like they're not 100% guaranteed to fill, right? Like this one, that one that was like whatever, sitting somewhere down here or whatever, never got filled. Technically, I guess it got filled in the bear market. But yeah, they're not 100% hit rate. And again, I'm not just looking down to, I'm not just looking down to 74K, right? If I were short from up here, I wouldn't just be holding that whole position till 74K, right? We could never see 74K again, maybe. I think we will at some point, and maybe in a bear market. But let's see. But yeah, Lars, I agree with you, bro. Hey, shout out to Barik. Barik. I don't know if I said that right, but I just explained, at least in my view, what just happened there. Big liquidation run. But again, doesn't mean it can't continue down, right? Typically, those liquidation runs will give you a short rip back to the upside, but that does not mean that you're just guaranteed to continue ripping. Chemistry Bro says, yeah, Frankie, there is a December and October 2020 CME gap that filled in the bear market 2022. That is what I'm thinking the 77K CME gap will be. Yeah, potentially. I mean, again, especially in a parabolic bull run, right? Like when you're in a sideways market, like the CME gaps, right? Like CME gaps, like when you're kind of bing bong and sideways, like these will like almost always get filled, right? But when you start getting parabolic runs, like the example that I showed earlier, right? Like you have a gap right here. It never got filled. People were probably sitting here waiting for that CME gap. Now, granted, it could have come in, right? But there are a lot of people probably saying, no, the CME gap has to fill, right? But it does not have to fill. What happened? You wound up running up, and it wound up taking you, let's see. I'll even measure it out, right? Wound up taking you, yeah, right here. About 499 16-hour candles, 499 days to come fill that CME gap. Pretty insane. And it is crazy as well. If I just draw this really quickly, just to show like the magic of TA, I'm just going to roughly, let me just do this really quickly. Boom. Boom. Come back over to where it filled. Like that wick tried to fill it, and then we just filled it there. It's insane. People say TA doesn't work. That's crazy. That's some crazy speak. But yeah, Kembro, I could totally see that happening, right? We're in a huge move up. A lot of people might be expecting that CME gap to fill. And even if we came down to like 88K, right? Like people are like, oh my God, the CME gap. And then we might just take off. And that is why I'm a level-to-level trader, guys. You're never going to be able to just like know exactly what level's definitely going to get hit. It's all about setting your trap in the market, AKA your key levels with confluence. And you just wait for your price to come down to that level, right? And then when you hit that level, you can then analyze price and look for confirmations to see if it's a good place to enter a trade, right? If there's no confirmation, you simply sit on your hands and you wait for the lower level. So right now, it's kind of like what I just brought up here, right? Now, granted, we did not hang out here very long, so there was no real confirmation. But, if we came down here and, I just sit on my hands. I'm not looking for a bigger long position, maybe scalps, right? Like I said, we took a scalp earlier today, like right here. And it came up, and then it didn't look good. The 15-minute money flow was coming out. The 4-hour red dot was 15-minute red dot was printing. 1-minute money flow was coming out. I was like, hey, Mafia, I'm going to hop out of this one. I don't like the conflicting signals. And what happens? Boom. We get the big drop. And I was saying, sometimes it's just as important to know when to close a trade than it is to know when to enter a trade. You got to know when that setup's not going to play out. Shout out to TDK. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He said, can you show and check how much GOX just sold? Is that what that was? I don't know, right? Like, was it liquidations or was it? Obviously, Mt. Gox selling would dump the price, but it is funny that when you see the TA play out, there is always just a story that follows, which is pretty crazy. Is a funded account better than futures trading? It really depends. Shout out to Kapoor. I don't know if I said that right. Funded accounts are great. I don't know. I think a lot of people hate on funded accounts, but I don't. Right? I think people don't like the fact that funded accounts or funded like prop firms make money off of challenges. But I don't see what's wrong with that. Right? Like they're giving traders an opportunity to take a challenge, and if they pass the challenge, they get funded with money. And then people say, well, it's not real money. It's demo money. But what's the problem there? You're trading with fake money. As long as your prop firm's going to pay you out when you make profit on that demo money, it doesn't matter if you're trading with real money or fake money. As long as if you take $50,000 of fake money and you turn it into $100,000 and you get paid 50% of that, right? As long as you get that 50%, who cares if what you were trading was real money or not? I like funded accounts. I think I don't trade on them, but I think it's a great way for profitable traders who don't have access to a lot of money to get access to a lot of money. And then, obviously most people are going to fail those challenges, but that's just the statistics of trading, right? Like 95% of traders fail. So obviously more people are going to lose those challenges than win them. But for the profitable traders, right? Like I wish this was more of a popular thing before I was here, right? Like when I was learning, I would have loved to, there is a point in a lot of people's trading careers. Just because you become profitable doesn't mean that you make $1 million overnight. People think like, oh, when I become profitable, I'll just have a ton of money to trade with because I'll be getting rich trading. That's not really how it works, right? Like that's like the fake dream that people tell you, right? Or try to sell you. That's not really how it works, right? Like there is a point where you like are profitable, you're winning your trades, but you still don't have a ton of money to trade with. And I would have loved that part of my journey. I would have loved that because I would have been like, hey, I know my risk management strategy. I know I'm profitable over time. I have a good shot at passing this challenge. And for those people, it's very, very good, in my opinion. It gives, you have to be profitable, though. There's no reason to take those challenges if you're not already consistently making money. The only reason you should take the challenges to get a funded account is because you're already profitable, making money consistently over months, and then you just want to increase your capital. So you take that challenge, right? But I think what happens to a lot of people is they just see oh my God, I can have $50,000 to trade with, $100,000 to trade with. Let me just try to get one of these, and they wind up just throwing all their money away, trying to pass the accounts. But I like them. Okay, so that's the other thing. So that versus futures, right? Like if you're trading with leverage, it's kind of the same thing, right? Well, I don't want to say it's the same thing, but it's just a way that, for me, right, when you use leverage, I try to explain this all the time. Like leverage can be extremely risky, but if leverage is risky for you, if leverage makes your trading risky, you're not using leverage the right way. It's really hard, right? Like, really what should be calculating your risk is, number one, the charts, and number two, your position size, right? Like, if you want to lower your risk, you shouldn't be moving your leverage. If you're like, I don't want to be as risky on this trade, I'm only going to use 5x, not 50x, you're using leverage as gambling. That's the wrong way to use it, right? The only thing that should change your risk is your position size, right? So, like, if you have a $50,000 position, whether it's on 1x leverage or 2x leverage, the risk is always the same. Right, so I think that's like the common misconception. Like people say, like if you guys see me trading, right? You see when I show my trades on Blowfin or Femex. Sometimes I use 75x leverage. Sometimes I use 50x leverage. Sometimes I use 3x leverage. Sometimes I use 10x leverage. Right, but all those trades, for the most part, based off my risk management strategy, if I lose any of those trades, if I lose a 100x trade, I lose the same amount of money as I would lose on a 1x trade. Right. Now, there's some times where I put extra risk on to certain trades, and for that reason, the risk would change. But, like for the most part, when I take a trade, like if it's on 100x or 5x, if I get stopped out of both of those trades, I lose the same amount of money, right? You have to change your position size. I have a video on this. If you go watch in the beginner series, if you look at the Blowfin video, I explain all this. And if you're lowering your leverage to lower your risk, you're using leverage as gambling. But yeah, check out that Blowfin video. By the way, if you guys want to sign up for Femex or Blowfin and help support the channel, you can check the links in the description down below. Those are my two favorite exchanges. That's where I trade every single day. And it will give you access to, I don't think I'm showing anything secret here. It will give you access to the dining room, which is our freemium section of the Discord. If you guys want to take a look at what we do in the premium Discord for free, if you're on our affiliate accounts, Femex, Blowfin, Mexi, or Big X, you can come on in here, click this button, read through here. You'll get access to it for 100% free. You get 1 premium TA post per week, so you can get a taste of kind of what we do in there before you shell out money. And we do still have our Cyber Week deals going on. Running out of time here. End of the week. That sale ends for the premium Discord. And we sold out of all our 2-year two-year memberships, guys, which is crazy because me and Tony were talking about doing that, and I was like, I don't know if people are going to buy 2-year memberships. I underestimated the dedication that the Mafia has to becoming profitable. But yeah, we are all sold out of those 2-year memberships. But all these other deals are still going on, guys, up to, I think this was the $200 savings. But yeah, all these other deals are still going on until the end of the week. So don't forget about that. But let's go ahead and jump on into Love the Sauce, Frankie. Shout out to Rob Dirt, not to be confused with Joe Dirt. Shout out to Rob. Thank you for being here, bro. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to I don't know how to say that name. I'm gonna call him Pi. I think those last 2 letters are P-I. Says, this is bearish AF. Are people dumb? This was the dead cat bounce of hype. And we're going down hard. Don't cry later. Shout out to Pi. I will not be crying because we will likely be shorting that thing all the way back down. But yeah, how low do you think it's going to go? Let me know. Let's see. Shout out to Tell. Says, thank you for the super chat. Says, please, sir, may I have some Solana chart review? Thank you. Hey, shout out to Tell. Quick reminder, guys. Super chats do not guarantee that we will look at your altcoin. I don't want anybody wasting their money thinking that it guarantees that we look at them. Then we get a bunch of upset people. But yeah, we can take a look at Solana. Let's jump into some of these alts. We'll keep an eye here on Bitcoin. But those are the key levels I'm looking at to the downside, guys. And we'll see. Maybe we'll get a little bit more volatility to come in here. And maybe we can, if we see a setup, maybe we'll take a trade. But let's go into Ethereum here, guys. I mean, you can't make it up, guys. You can't make it up. Let's take a look here, right? Let's zoom out. Bada boom, bada bing. So yeah, we came back up into our value area high. We deviated. We came up to our key level of resistance. But yeah, this is not bearish, right? Like, could this turn into a big bearish move? Absolutely, right? Like, could you wind up seeing this loss of the level, and you just get a big dump down? Definitely possible, right? But as of right now, there's really no reason. Like, we are just continuing, right? Just continuing up here, right? Like, I know, like, it's funny, like, when people are new to crypto, they see this, like, even on ETH, right? You see this 5% dump on ETH, or even from the top here, you see this 7% dump on ETH, you're like, oh my God, this is bearish, right? But you got to zoom out, right? I've been in this market since 2017. You got to get your crypto pants. You got to get, like, what do they call it? Like your sea legs. You got to get your crypto legs, right? When in doubt, zoom out, right? Like, this is not, like, this was nothing. This was really nothing. Doesn't mean it can't turn into something. But just like as of right now, like seeing this dump does not mean it's bearish. Same thing on Bitcoin, right? Like if you look at this, like this was very, very liquidation-y, right? But you have to understand how the market moves to actually know that. And again, does this mean that we can't continue down? No, we just looked at lower levels. But you look at the grand scheme of things, right? The real thing that I would look at this as very bearish is like if we wind up like swing failing this high on the very high time frames. And even so, though, we still have a lot of room that we can come down before like really calling for a bear market. So even if you got to drop down from here, again, right, from here to here is 22%. We see this in bull markets literally all the time, right? It's like not uncalled for. But people who are new to crypto, new to trading, or just new to markets in general, they see this and they're like, oh my God, price is dumping. This is bearish. Now, again, does this mean that if we come down here, we are definitely not going to continue down and go into some random bear market and the 4-year cycle is completely broken? No, that could happen, right? Anything can happen. But just in general, to look at this basically doji candle and say that this is just 100% bearish isn't really necessarily, it's a little too soon to tell. But yeah, sweeping that liquidity above 100K could just be, I guess bearish, right? But really like bearish down to here, right? Like 22%, that's bearish. But I don't know if that's like bear market territory. But yeah, that's just the way I look at it. And again, the beautiful thing about being a trader is we can make money on the way down, baby. Let's see. All right, so let's continue on here. Smash that like button if you guys have not already. We're going for 1,000 likes on tonight's live stream for some extra Solana giveaways tomorrow. Bring on the 20% dip. I want cheap prices again. Let's see. Yeah, I'd love to pick up some alts. If this was the top, peak. Yeah, Lars, we could take a look at peak as well. But yeah. All right, so let's jump in here, right? So Ethereum, right? We came up, we retested this value area value area low, which was our doorway to higher prices. But obviously, this is going to be resistance until proven otherwise, right? So it is resistance. We did get that pullback. Key level of support did wind up holding up that we were looking at yesterday, which is the value area high of the range. So we break out. Next target is the value area low of the previous range. Resistance until proven otherwise. We also have the spider line flying through here as well. We get the drop down. Where are you looking for support? Down here at the previous value area high. So right now, you're kind of just bing-bonging around in between these volume profiles. Doorway to lower prices, in my opinion, is going to be the loss of this spider line at about 36.30. If you lose that, I'd be looking to come back down to the POC at about 34.90. And then once you lose that, that's where we'd be looking for a potential much bigger drop to the downside, maybe to clear out some leverage here, sweep those lows. But that's just the context I'd be looking at, right? Like key level here, doorway to, the doorway to $3,500 is at $3,600, right? Not that far away. And once you lose that POC, technically you have a spider line here at about 33.37, but once you lose that, you're going to be looking down to the value area low at about $3,000. But other than that, you're just kind of bing-bonging around these volume profiles. And then your doorway to higher prices remains the same, which is the value area low. So you come up, resistance, right? Maybe we get another bounce. But once you get above here, POC is kind of close. So once you flip that POC, that's where I'd expect a much bigger move up for Ethereum. But yeah, and I will be honest, guys, like Market Cipher B is definitely leaning a bit more bearish here, right? And now again, what did we look at yesterday to anticipate the potential rip above 100K? It was the idea that this money flow, the money flow crossovers into the red are oftentimes fake outs in the bull market. What happens? Money flow comes into the red, we wiggle around, and then it just fakes us out, and we go to grab that liquidity above 100K. Again, the liquidity is overpowered, guys. Like the whole reason that we were even looking at an opportunity of coming up and sweeping these highs was because we knew on the heat map that we had all that liquidity sitting up here, right? And yeah, we came up. To be quite honest, we did put in some bearish divergences here on the 30-minute, higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves. Money flow starting to leak down into the red on the 30-minute. So you just, you come sweep that liquidity. This is why I always say when you get those big moves up, I need price to consolidate, right? I can't just, granted on this, I did take a aggressive long based off the liquidations, but unless I'm doing something like that, we need to let price cool off. We said this last night during the 10 p.m. night live stream. You have to get some kind of consolidation, right? And what happens? We come here, we range around, right? You could pull your volume profile. Boom, right? And then you have some kind of context into what you're looking at, right? You could say, hey, now I have a volume profile that I can look at, and I can look for longs at the lows, shorts at the highs, right? You come up here, you put in bearish divergences, money flow comes out, you come down to the low, you lose the low, and then you just come down into your lower profile. So other than that liquidation wick, I mean, honestly, nothing really too crazy, to be quite honest, right? Like big drop, but you're just back in this volume profile. It's not that, it's like what you would expect, to be quite honest. But yeah, other than that, Ethereum, kind of the same thing. You had some bearish divergences into your key level, but those are the levels I'd be looking at it on Ethereum. And just like Bitcoin, right, like some of the market cipher is, 4-hour money flow, not really in the red, to be quite honest. 2-hour money flow coming out, 1-hour money flow kind of bing-bonging around. 45-minute coming out. Let's check that 12-hour red dot. So one thing to look for a bigger drop down here on ETH would be the red dot on the 12-hour, in my opinion, and then looking for that 45-minute money flow crossover into the red. 12-hour red dot printing, if that starts to happen, I am simply going to go down to the 45-minute time frame and look to see if our money flow is about to cross into the red. Because when we have that, typically the money flow crossover on the lower time frame is what creates that bigger move to the downside, right? So you see this money flow crossing over with a 12-hour red dot. Typically that crossover into the red is what causes the bigger drop to the downside. So that's what I'd be looking at for a bigger move down on ETH. 30-minute money flow in the red. 8-hour red dot printing. So same theory, just with two different time frames. 8-hour, 30-minute, same thing. 8-hour red dots printing. You come on over to the 30-minute. That 30-minute money flow crossover is typically where you get the bigger drop to the downside, right? And technically, that's exactly what happened, right? But it could also, mean we're going to come a little bit lower. But those are the key levels I'd be looking at, guys. Those are the key levels I'd be looking at. 2-day green dot printing. 3-day red dot looking to print. All these higher time frames, these higher daily time frames are looking for red dots, which is something to keep in mind. But as I've been saying, with a lot of the altcoins, let's pull up Polkadot. With a lot of these altcoins, guys, the 2-day red dots just get swallowed, right? 2-day red dot prints, what happens? We just continue up. So you got to be careful with those in a bull market. But again, the trend is only your friend until the end. If this is really like, If this was Polkadot's all-time high for the 2025 bull or 2024 bull run, I guess, if this is it, right? If this is the high and we're going down to zero, this would be like the most crazy lackluster Bitcoin bull market, while everything other than, everything is bullish, right? Crypto president, Bitcoin reserve for the USA, mass adoption just keeps going up and up every year, right? Just over time, every cycle, there's going to be more people that know what crypto is. So could it be a short-term top? For sure. Do I think it's the top of the bull market? Not necessarily, right? Definitely don't think it's the top of the bull market. But if it is, it's not impossible, right? Just 100K, that'd be the most lackluster bull market ever. But hey, let's measure this real quick. Yeah, 50% above the previous all-time high, that'd be lackluster. But it does not mean we can't feel some pain. But anyway. Whoa, hang on. Shout out to K-Jam. Thank you for gifting those memberships, bro. Shout out to you, gifting a Frankie Candles membership. I don't know who got it, but shout out to whoever got it. Thank you for doing that, bro. Shout out to K-Jam. I appreciate you. Yo, Sin City Crypto in the chat. Speaking of slot machines, let's go. Shout out to Sin City. What is going on, guys? Good to see you in here. Shout out to Sin City Crypto, guys. It says, love you, Frankie. Love the Candle Mafia. Don't stress. Don't stress. Still 100K all day. Let's go. Shout out to Sin City. Yeah, guys, if you're panicking, just zoom out. Shout out to Sin City, guys. Show Sin City some love in the chat, baby. Let's get it. Thank you for stopping by, guys. I appreciate you. Let's see. I'm in a denial phase. I got burnt so bad in the last bull run. I don't trust this one yet. Hey, Ventura. V-Slim. Is that V-Slim? Ventura Slim? You got to be V-Slim. But shout out to you, bro. Listen. That's okay, man. The goal of this whole thing is to make money, right? And this is why I always say everybody's in a different spot, right? And I think, it's easy to get greedy in crypto because you see those 100x gains, those 50x gains, right? 20x gains, 10x gains, whatever it is. But, if you're up massively, if you were buying down here at the bottom of the bear market and you're up 490%, you are crazy for not taking profits on a 490% gain on your investment. This is how people get wrecked. They go, no. I want a 10x. I'm holding for 500K. I'm holding for 200K. Unless you have a legitimate reason and data backing up why you think price is going to go there, and you have an actual plan, that's a very dangerous thing to do, right? Obviously, the name of the game is to make as much money as possible, but you can't trade like that. You have to have, right? Just for example, and I'm going to take a look at Solana next, but for example, if you look at your Fibonacci, let's go back to the previous bull market real quick. Because a lot of people Erica asked me yesterday, shout out to Erica if you're in the chat. People are like, does Frankie really know his community? I know all my community. I remember the questions you guys asked me. Sometimes I miss a question. I'll read a question in chat. I'll see it, and I'll be like, oh, I'll get to that in a second. And I never get to it. And I'll literally be laying in bed and be like, oh, man, I never answered Erica. I literally think about this 24/7, guys. But, in a bull market, right, they said, where are you taking profits for your long-term bags? This is very hard, right? This is an extremely hard thing to do. And the reason for that is because nobody knows where the top is. No matter how many influencers think they know where the top is, even technical analysts, I put my trust more in technical analysis than I do people, just random people, right? But because at least, it's not going to be right 100% of the time, but at least you're basing it off of something, right? You're basing it off of some kind of information. This is why I'm a trader, and it works out very well, right? But in the previous bull market, right? If you pull your 2017 high to the 2018 low, right, and you pull up your Fibonacci extensions, this would be the Fib extension I'd be looking at in 2021, right? Now, no one wants to hear this because it's not just like you're going to make $1 bazillion forever and it's always going to go up and you're never going to be in the red again. You have to be willing to take profit off the table or you're going to lose all your money. Trust me, I've bought things and held them to the bottom before. Most people do that in their first crypto bull run. I'm speaking from experience, right? And just based off of, I just know because I'm in crypto full time. It's just very common, right? I've been in this since 2017. But when you see this, right, the way I look at it is I'm a trader, right? I'm a technical analyst. So I'm going to be looking at technical targets. And for me, I'm looking at Fibonacci extension levels. And we have this cluster right here, right, which was sitting between $23,000 and $29,000. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, why would you take profit at $23,000 to $29,000 if that's only, 45% above the high? Well, the answer is because if you bought down here, you're not up 50%, you're up 600%. Right? So depending on where you buy, this is why most people lose money in crypto because most of the retail comes in at the top. Most of the retail comes in here. They buy here after everything's on the news. They endure this massive drawdown. They're scared to sell. Then it goes back up, and they're like, oh, my dreams are going to come true. I am going to make $1 billion. And then it just dumps into the bear market. Most people come in at the top. All the normal people come in at the top, right? But if you're, and in that case, you're in a bad position because at that point, you're already entered in after a massive 1,500% pump on the asset, right? So you're not buying cheap Bitcoin up here, right? You're buying very overvalued Bitcoin. So then you need price to do if you want to make, especially if you have the lofty expectations of new crypto people typically have, let's assume conservatively you got it in the middle of this range. For you to get 100% gain on your money, you needed 100K, right? Or if you wanted 150%, you needed about 100K, right? But everyone knows 100K never came in. And then what happened? They held all the way to the bottom. The better way to do it, in my opinion, right? For me, I bought my BTC down here. So I'll show you the targets for Bitcoin in this cycle, but take a little off the table here. You don't have to sell the whole bag, but if you're up 600%, take some profit. You could roll that into altcoins. The altcoins are typically the next ones to rip, right? So, you could take partial profits here, right? So for me, right, I mark these out as targets, right? So I'd say, hey, if we come in somewhere between $23,000 and $30,000, I'll start to maybe take a little profit. Not empty my whole bag, and then I hold, right? Where's my next target? My next target's going to be up at this next fib target between 46,811 and 39,985. What happens? We come up. Maybe take a little more profit. You get a little dip. Then you come up. Your last target here was at 62,943. That would have been another area to take some profit. But you could DCA out of the market just like you DCA into the market, right? When I bought the bottom of the bear market, shout out to the CandleMafia that's been here since the beginning. You guys know we waited for that weekly money flow to cross over into the red. You get your first big capitulation, right? Money flow crossover into the red here. We said, hold, wait for the drop. The roller coaster gets to the peak, and then, woo, we start that roller coaster ride. We get that big drop down. This is where I started DCAing in, right? You buy, right? And then it comes down, and people are like, wait. New people will be like, well, why'd you buy there? You bought too early. No, you're trying to snipe the top. Do not do that with your long-term bags. Not financial advice. You might get lucky sometimes, but no. You buy up here, and then it comes down. You continue to buy. You continue to buy. You continue to buy. You're not mad that it's continuing to dump. You're just getting an average entry price. You continue to buy. Continue to buy. Buy. Right? And then at the end of the day, your entry price for me is between $20,000 and $21,000. Right? Somewhere in here. Right? You get an average entry price, and then you're enjoying those gains. Right? You're enjoying those gains as they come in. And then if you come into your fib targets, which I will pull up right now, from your high for this, in this case, just the fib targets that I like to look at, right? The first major zone we looked to come into was right here. What do we have? First target was between 81 and 90K as a first zone of resistance. And the second, I'll just mark it all together, right? The whole zone was between about 81 and $100,000, right? So you could, if you're in at $21,000, right? $23,000 for this example, and you're up 350%, you could take some profits here. Right? Just like you bought. Notice how you're not trying to catch the bottom, right? You're just buying to get an average exit or an average entry, right? Just like you come in here. Maybe you bing bong around here a little bit, and maybe we do rip up to 136 to 150K, but it's okay to take a little off the table here, take a little off the table here, and then you hold for another big move up. Then you could take a little off the table here, take a little off the table here, and then if you go up to 200K, you could take a little more, maybe sell it all, right? But the goal is to make money. Right? Not hold on for the biggest amount of money that you can possibly get, right? Because then what happens to those people? They hold on for $100,000 and they never get it. And then they hold it all the way back to the bottom and they can't buy down here with all those profits because they never sold. So going into this bull market, guys, this is something that's really important to realize. So for me, I like to look at the Fibonacci extension levels. And you can see we've been looking at these targets for quite some time. And you can see they are working out pretty good, right? We're sitting right in our first zone. Maybe even if we cool off here and we chill out, right? Like this might not be bad before another big rip up. But if you're not taking any profit whatsoever, it's a very dangerous game to play. So there you go. Hopefully, I gave somebody a little bit of insight there. And it's hard to do, guys. It's hard to do. When your portfolio is all green, it feels like it's never going to go back down. I don't want to act like I'm impervious to this. Shout out to Terry. He says, thanks, boss. Boss is pouring that sauce. Keep it cooking, Frankie. Shout out to Terry. I appreciate you, bro. I got to make this text a little bigger. I can't even see you guys. When 1K likes, y'all. Shout out to Dave Digital. Smash that like button, guys. Great trading advice, Frankie. Shout out to Not the Norm. Yeah, that's not the normal advice either. People just want to. It's going to $1 bazillion, guys. Hold. I love it. We're all going to make it. Wag me, baby. But at the end of the day, trading and investing is a PvP game. If you make money, you took it out of someone else's hands. That's just the raw truth, right? So it's literally, by definition, not a we're all going to make it game. People who say that we're all going to make it. Now, do I stand with that? Yes, we're all going to make it. I want us all to make it, but this is why I tell you, you have to pay yourself, right? Because if you all just hold forever, someone's going to sell and take the money, and you're going to be stuck holding a bag, right? The lucky thing with Bitcoin is if you're, we're not all going to make it. Shout out to V-Slim. But yeah, it's, someone's going to sell. People are going to sell and make money, and the other people are going to be the bag holders, right? Very, very, you got to pay yourself. So yeah, I recommend dollar cost averaging in, just like I recommend dollar cost averaging out or laddering out over time, right? You can take 10%, 20%, whatever it is. And then, I recommend even like a weighted dollar cost average out, right? Like if you have your levels here, just for example, right? You get your first big target, maybe you take 10%, right? And then you hit your second big target, wherever it is. It doesn't have to be my targets. You hit your second target, maybe you take 30%. Then you hit the second, the third, fourth target, whatever. Then you start pulling out heavier percentages, right? So yeah, you could do that as well. Same thing on the way down, right? Like maybe you start to buy a little bit, right? You think it's probably going to go down, but you want to get in something, right? So you buy a little bit, then it drops. Maybe you buy a little more, right? You keep buying, and then you get another big drop. Now you're starting to dump a little more in, right? So if you're buying $50 a week here, $50 a week here, $50 a week here, and then you get another big drop, maybe you want to start buying $100 a week, right? Because that'll help your average entry price get lower. So, yeah, there you go. Hopefully that helps you guys out. Shout out to K-Jam. Thank you for gifting those memberships, bro. I appreciate you. And shout out to K-Jam. Says, up arrow, baby. Let's go. Shout out to K-Jam. I think he's asking me to mod him. Shout out to K-Jam. Is that what you're saying? He's pointing to his name with 2 wrenches. Shout out to K-Jam. I think that's what he's saying. But let's go ahead and continue on here. Shout out to... I don't know how to say that. Samarpi. I don't know how to say that. But he says, people always think you're crazy when you call the top till it's too late and they see you were right. Yeah, absolutely. Same thing with the bottom. Everybody calling for 9K, 10K. No, it's going lower. And it's like, I don't know. Like even here, when I started my YouTube channel, I say this all the time. Right here, we got this retracement. Everybody was saying 30K was the bottom. Oh, my God, we're putting in a higher low. This is bullish. We're going up. And all we could see were bearish divergences on the weekly with money flow coming out. And we had this blood diamond popping up here on Market Cypher A on the weekly. And this is where I say this all the time. I got flamed in the comments. Flamed. People are like, this guy's a moron. This guy's saying that we're going down. Have you seen Bitcoin? It only goes up. There's no way it goes down. And I'm just like, I don't know. The TA's saying this could be really, really bad. We could be starting the bear market. And I got totally roasted in the chat. Not in the chat, but in the comments. I got roasted when I made that video. And it was literally your last chance to get out. So I'm not right 100% of the time, but when the information's there, you got to act accordingly. And and I actually got some DMs after we absolutely dumped. And a couple people DM'd me. Some people DM'd me and said, I clowned you for saying that we were going to dump from 47K. And it looks like you were right. And someone even said, I hated you for saying that, but I trusted your analysis, and you saved me all of my money, which is great to hear. But anyway, let's take a look at Solana here real quick, guys, because we do have some interesting stuff here on Solana. So let's see here. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, let me turn off Market Cypher A, clean the charts up just a bit. So yeah, Solana, I am getting some nice dollar cost averages in on Solana here, as it is kind of just chilling out. Although most of my Solana was acquired here at $33. My average buy-in price for Solana is $33. However, that's on one account, but I am just kind of storing some money because I don't want to hold the dollars right now. But yeah, I did buy a little bit of Solana yesterday, and I do have some dollar cost averages coming in here, hoping that we could break out into some new all-time highs. But just in general here, let me zoom out just a tad here. So yeah, I mean, we came up to this Fibonacci extension, which is what this purple box was from. We got the rejection. I mean, pretty simply put here, guys, we're just back within our volume profile. Key level of support remains the same as yesterday, 230. We remain above this level. I'd be looking to respect this range. Right? I'll look at this as key resistance. Bada boom. I mean, you could even look at this as a bigger zone, 786. Once we break above this 786, hold it as support. That's where I would look to take the highs into our first extension target, sitting at about 276 and 285. Same things we looked at on Bitcoin. I know this stuff seems kind of crazy, like when you're looking at these imaginary levels, because we can't look left for targets, right? But these seem crazy until they're hit, right? Like on Bitcoin, just to point this out, right? Like we were looking at this extension target for like ever since we had this, ever since the low came in, right? Ever since we put in this low, right? We've been looking at this ever since Bitcoin was down here in the low 20s, right? Saying, hey, like if we break the high, you know, maybe we could see 81 to 102K. Seems crazy when price is down here, right? It's like, no way, right? Like, could we see Bitcoin? Like, it feels crazy for Bitcoin to go to 50K at this point. But then once you get above that 786 and you break into the extensions, that's what you're looking at, right? And you go ahead, come on, and you play that price forward. It's going to take forever to do. So I'll just go ahead and speed that up. You come right into that extension, right? So same thing on Solana, right? Like if we do wind up coming up and breaking above that 786, I would simply look for those extension targets. 276.65 up to 285.53. I have another one up here at 295.71, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But as of right now, this is your key resistance sitting between 254.40 and 245.71. Break above that. That's what we're looking at. And then, maybe we get a rejection here. I'm just looking to, I'm going to anticipate to respect this range until we break out. I'm not day trading Solana right now. But if I were, I'd be looking for longs at the lows, shorts at the highs. Deviate above the high, look for shorts, come back into the range, lose your value area high, go to the POC, go to the low. So where you want to look for longs again, right? So on and so forth. If you break down even more, you have this lower volume profile between 218 and 207. So if you get a bigger breakdown, that's the range I would look at. If we break above the high, looking at those fib targets. Simply put, market cipher, daily green dot printing, 90-minute money flow crossover into the green. This, if we're going to get the bigger move out here, that 90-minute money flow crossover would 100% be the signal I'm looking at. I'd like to see it happen before we close the daily candle, which is literally going to happen in 35 seconds, so maybe that doesn't play out. But, sometimes it lags, right? So, if we get that money flow crossover soon, it could give us that bigger move to the upside. That's what I would look at. If we're going to get the bigger move up, I'd look for that 90-minute money flow crossover into the green to start the bigger move up. All right, let's take a look at Jasmy. Jasmy's on fire. Shout out to Pablo, said, hey, Frankie, do you use different indicators for different time frames? And if so, what settings do you use for each time frame? I use different indicators for the most part. I use LuxAlgo and Market Cipher as far as just indicators. I don't consider the volume profile an indicator. I consider it like a trading tool. But yeah, I use Market Cipher and LuxAlgo on all time frames. It really doesn't, like, I use LuxAlgo on smaller time frames for some specific circumstances, but it's never just a binary answer. It really depends on what I'm looking at, what the setup is, what does the market look like. So yeah, I use, basically those are the two main indicators that I use. And whether I use them on the high or low time frames really depends on what's going on in the market. So it's kind of just all situational. So hopefully that helps you out and answers your question. All right, let's see. Okay. So that's what I'd be looking at on Solana. Let's take a look at Jasmy. She's flying. She is flying, baby. Let's take a look here. Yeah, okay, Jazz. All right, let's pull this up. And there's that rounded bottom. There's that rounded bottom roaring into the break of the previous highs. We looked at this on something yesterday. Was it IOTX? Yeah, IOTX looking very similar here. But let's take a look at Jasmy real quick. Let's pull up the daily. Yeah, I mean, your next main level that I would look at would be, let me lock this up real quick. Boom, boom. So yeah, the next major target to the upside, I would say, is probably going to be this naked volume profile here, starting at about 0.06622. POC sitting at 0.07082. Value area high sitting at 0.000. 9 cents, we'll call it. 9 cents. So if we continue up, that would be the next area I would look at. Now, if I pull some, let me pull some fibs here real quick. All right, so these would be some bigger targets. I mean, we're really far away from this at this point, but that would be a major macro target. And then I would pull this as well. Yeah, so these are definitely, I mean, these are the targets I would look at. Coming down to a lower time frame. I mean, golden pocket, value area low, POC. It's a pretty big zone, but it just goes to show that there is confluence here. This is a major, come on. This is a major golden pocket with value area low 786 confluence. And then your 786 is also confluent with your value area high, right? So that's what I would look for if you continue up on Jasmy. Look to hit your head here. Once you break above it, I'd look to fill to the high, so on and so forth. But that is coming, you know, I already read them off, but there you go. You can screenshot these levels if you'd like. 2-day, right? And again, what have we been talking about? Oops, on these 2-day money flow crossovers, even when you have the VWAP coming down, oftentimes they get stepped on in a bull market and price just goes. So again, check the market update, the altcoin update that I dropped yesterday. Go watch that. I talk all about what we looked at on all the coins that are now up 2x that we talked about on the last update. All those coins are up 2x or more now, except for a couple of them. I think T is only up like 68%. Oh, no. But we talk a lot about what we look for on Market Cypher here. But yeah, that's what I'd be looking at on Jasmy. Nice day for Jasmy. Let's see. Again, I think IOTX was the yeah. So if we look at this real quick, right? This is on the 4-day, and then I will pull up also. I'm gonna pull up. Whoops! I'm gonna pull up Jasmy. Right. Just talking about these like rounded bottoming structures, right? Here's your 2024 highs. Here's your 2024 highs. You go into the little fake out bear market for the altcoins, and then you get this nice rounded bottom to roar through the previous high. And this is looking very similar, right? This is looking very similar. IOTX is looking very similar to Jasmy, right? But Jasmy's already run up and ripped through its all-time high, or not all-time high, but its previous high. This would make me anticipate, and again, we may or may not look at IOTX in that altcoin update if you want the full analysis, but you roar up, I would expect a potential break of structure here. And it's not just based off of that rounded bottoming structure, right? It's also based off the fact that we got the move down, and we have now put in a higher low in the golden pocket 786 zone, right? So the idea here is, hey, you're starting bullish market structure. The next thing to expect here is a break of structure to the high, right? You have your low, high, higher low, higher highs to be expected. Doesn't guarantee it, but it's also in line with your volume profile. Because if we're going to rip up here, is it possible? Yes, in my opinion, because this is the doorway to higher prices. And what happens when you get into those doorways to higher prices, guys? You get big rips to the upside, which would break that structure of this high here. So that's what I'd be looking at, right? So a little bonus IOTX there. But again, if you want more detail, check out that altcoin update. But again, look at that rounded structure here. Just swing, swing. That's what we look for. We love the swings here. Let's see. Shout out to Genesis says, did my super chat get answered? I had to run away for a while. Shout out to Genesis. Let me go ahead and check. I don't think we did read it. Oh, yeah, we did not. Shout out to Genesis says, hey, and what is the reason market makers are trying to hunt stop losses on longs? Is it just to be able to push price easier because less people can take profit? Shout out to Genesis. So the idea of that is it really depends, right? Like a lot of people think the market makers are sniping your stop loss to hurt you, right? But they don't really care. What they're really trying to do, in my opinion, right, is fill their large limit orders, right? So in short, big institutions or banks or just big money, they can't use market orders, right? They have to use limit orders. They can't just press buy and get into the market because of fees, slippage, etc. It's a nightmare. So they have to use limit orders, meaning they have to set a price, an order in the market, and they have to wait for price to come up and fill that order. But oftentimes, what they will do is they will manipulate price. Let's say, right, for example, right, I'll just explain this as simply as I can. Let's just assume, for example, some big money wants to buy down here, right? They can't just wait for price to come down there and hit buy, right? So what oftentimes they will do is they will manipulate price down. Now, again, there's really no way to like confirm that this is exactly what is going on, but the thought process is that they want to fill this lower limit order, and they know there's a lot of stop losses here, right? So they know that if they push price down a little bit, they're going to wreck all this liquidity, right? All these longs are going to get stopped out. And what is that going to do? It's going to provide the liquidity. All these stop losses are going to push price down into their limit order. And this is the idea of a swing failure pattern, right? Which is one of my favorite things to trade. It's one of the most highest probability things you can trade, right? This wasn't really a swing failure, but basically, right, they push price down, and as they start liquidating the longs, it causes a big capitulation to the downside to fill their limit order, right? And this is why you see a lot of people when they get into a long position, right? They might be in a long, they're like, oh my God, this is going great, right? And then have you ever gotten into a position? I know I'm about to poke some emotional strings in some people right now because I know, or not really poke emotional strings, but I'm gonna relate to you right now. How many times do you get into a position, right? A long position, and it looks like this. You get in, it plays out great, and then you get stopped out, and then price goes the way you thought it was going to go. How many times does that happen to you? It's probably because you're a victim of a liquidation hunt, right, or a stop hunt. Now, again, they're not doing this to hurt you, but if there's a big limit order down here that they want to fill, they can manipulate price down. Price is pumping. Everyone thinks it's bullish. They enter long positions. Their liquidity goes down below, so that what they can do is push price down, wreck all those longs, pushing price even deeper into their limit order. And then once they fill their limit order, that is what pushes price back to the upside. That's what's literally happening there, right? So hopefully that answers your question, if I understood that correctly. That's pretty much that's how I interpret it, right? And we use the actual order flow. We see the liquidations coming in. We see if the move was fueled off of new market orders. There's different ways to do it. We teach all this in the premium Discord in more detail. But yeah, that's the general thought process, right? They kind of manipulate price down. They liquidate one end of the trade, in this case, longs. They would liquidate them to push price into their larger limit order, and that is what reverses price. There's a few different ways you can look at it, but that's the way I do. Okay. So shout out to Genesis. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense to you. Essentially, it's just to fill larger limit orders. All right, let's see. Exactly. Yeah, Michael Less. They put huge limit orders and then they drag price down. Exactly. Okay, so let's go ahead and see. Okay, so let's continue on here. I want to take a look at. We'll take a look at XRP. We'll take a look at so many times. Yeah, shout out to Ventura. Yeah, it's trust me, I've gone through it. I've gone through it a million times. Shout out to V Sunset, down 230 on my IOTX bag of 4K. Let's go higher. Shout out to you, bro. Let's see. Okay. Oh God. Yo, shout out to Big Daddy Rothschild. Okay, so let's take a look at XRP. We'll take a look at H bar. So yeah, XRP. I mean, this is kind of not a huge update on XRP, to be quite honest with you. We filled our first range. We broke out. We tested the value area low as support. Once we get above the doorway to higher prices here, we are going to look for price to go to the POC, which we got, and up to the value area high. We deviated above. This is where you typically want to look for shorts or just look for a correction back down into the range. If we can't break back out of this previous value area high at 252, we could potentially work our way down to that POC at about $1.92. Lose the POC. I'd look down to come to $1.60. But I'm not really trading XRP short term right now. Yeah, 4-day red dot is looking to print, but your 4-day money flow is coming up. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, this is definitely, you're just within this profile. This is your key profile. 252 value area high, 192 is your POC, 160 is your value area low. I would look to respect that for now. You may be hitting a golden pocket here. Yeah, there it is. So, this is intermediary. Can you hold that golden pocket? Can you hold the POC potentially? But if you lose it, I'm just looking at this volume profile. Once you lose the high, it is more probable to get a visit of the POC. But again, you do have that golden pocket sitting here. So, it's kind of hard to say right now. But Yeah, 4-hour money, 4-hour VWAP starting to try to come up here a bit. Yeah, I would probably let this settle. You know, money flow crossovers on the higher time frames still look good, right? Your 2-day was the thing that called the early move. You get that early move. Then the 3-day follows shortly after. You get a bigger move. And now your 4-day is even starting to get a crossover into the green. So, you know, can we get a pullback continuation? Sure. But you now have the key levels of support. And then, you know, if we do continue higher, again, these red dots on the higher daily time frames have to be taken with a grain of salt. Because, again, they get swallowed like I just showed you on Polkadot. A lot of times they do get swallowed up. To the moon, gentlemen. Shout out to Set. Let's go. 983 likes. Smash that like button, guys. If you're learning something, or you've been watching the stream for quite some time, and you're eating the sauce that we're dishing, smash that like button, guys. It's the easiest and most free way to help support the channel. But yeah, that's kind of what I look at XRP. You know, kind of the same situation we've been in. We're just rejecting that value area high, but that's your key level to get above in order to attack that all-time high. And if you continue down, you have the POC and the value area low. Very, very nice and clear. Hey, Pennywise in the chat. Let's go. Everybody's favorite friendly clown. Shout out to you, bro. Let's see. How to spot a dead cat bounce. Shout out to Sebastian. That's a really, really, really great question. There's many ways you can do it. I won't go into it right now. We talk about this stuff in the premium Discord a lot more. You would have to be looking at order flow for the most part. You need to know what is fueling the move, right? Just like when we looked at Bitcoin, we were able to identify that this big wick down was very, very likely fueled by positions closing, right? So you have to really understand, and it takes time to learn this. You have to understand like what caused the move to the downside, right? So when you see that we have a massive dump to the downside on dropping open interest, this is showing open interest shows you the positions opening and closing. So when you have a big move down and a lot of positions closing, this tells me that there were a lot of long liquidations, and I can confirm that by looking to see if the longs are opening or closing, right? This is net longs showing you when it comes up, longs are opening. When it comes down, longs are closing. So when I see a big drop in open interest and a big drop in net longs, that tells me that this move down was mostly fueled by people closing positions, right? With the longs basically saying the longs are getting wrecked, right? And this is sometimes how you can spot a fake out, right? It's really situational. It's never going to be as easy as like a yes or no answer. Wait, you just look for this and then it's a fake out. You really have to understand how the market moves, right? If it was I'm not saying you think it's this easy, but if it was as easy as just like having seeing one thing and being like, this is definitely a fake out, like there's so much to it. There's context. You have to understand what the other time frames are doing. But really, this is how I like to spot my fake outs, right? And oftentimes, this is one thing that I look at for a fake out is to see maybe it's just a liquidity grab, which is basically just a giant fake out. So there you go. It's basically a swing failure pattern, but you can confirm it by looking at the actual order flow charts, which again we teach more in the Discord. So I'll give you that kind of like surface level explanation. There's also other ways that you can identify it as well, depending on what tools you use. But that's just kind of a little hint. And then also on exo charts, you also get like just these bubbles which show you the liquidations, right? You can see we had a lot of long liquidations down here, shown by this giant giant red bubble. I'm not colorblind, guys, I swear. But there you go. Hopefully that helps you out. Let's see. Okay, so we took a look at XRP. Let's take a quick look at HBAR. Let's see. Okay, so on HBAR, or actually, let me just check Bitcoin here real quick. 1 hour green dot looking to print. 45-minute green dot confirmed. Just do a little analysis here. 7-minute green dot. Let's see, what's this 5-minute money flow doing? 5-minute money flow with a nice little trigger wave. I'd like to see that money flow come up. If that money flow was coming up with this 80-minute green dot about to print, could give you another push up, potentially. Yeah, 1 hour green dot looking to print. Yeah, 30-minute. It's kind of I don't know. I'll be honest with you guys, right? Like this 45-minute money flow coming out with a 12-hour red dot printing is kind of bearish when you're looking at just market cipher B. So, can we just bull market yeet back up? Maybe. But I will say money flow and market cipher is a little bit more bearish here for a continuation down. Like, will there be noise? Probably. But it's kind of hard to say just because the reliability of the fake outs on money flow into the red, right? Like, I'm putting a lot more emphasis on money flow crossing into green rather than crossing into the red. And that's when it comes to the altcoins, and again, I'll come back to H-bar now, with the 2-day money flow crossover into the green, like I'm treating these green dots and money flow crossovers into the green on altcoins, especially on the higher time frames, I'm treating those with much more certainty than the crossover, than the bearish signals on market cipher B, if that makes sense. Let's see. Shout out to XD Coins, said, Frankie Candles, please don't do XRPTA anymore. You can't do that. I can't do what? I can't look at XRP? Shout out to XD Coins. Let's see. Hidden bull div on the 1 hour on H-bar or on Bitcoin? Maybe Bitcoin. Yo, Tony D is the hidden bull div master. Not gonna lie. To your bodies, yes. To your wicks, absolutely not. But I do like pulling my divergences to the bodies. So, yeah. Yes. Shout out to Tony D. Tony D is literally the hidden bull div master. For whatever reason, my eyes just don't see the hidden bull divs. I guess that's why they call them hidden. My eyes don't find hidden bull divs as much as they find regular. Like regular divergence, I can literally smell the chart, and I can tell you there's a bull div. Tony D was doing some analytics on our YouTube channel, and he showed me a chart. And I literally found a bullish divergence into a moving average on that analytics chart, which is hilarious because it was legitimately a bullish divergence into an actual moving average. He had an average line of our views, and then it was a whole thing, but there was legitimately a moving average. By definition, it was a moving average, and there was lower lows on our price action or our overall views into that moving average with attention coming back into crypto. It's literally a bullish divergence. It's not even like it looked like a bull div. It literally is a divergence between attention and views. Are we about to break out? Which is hilarious, Tony D. Tony, bro, this is crazy because we had 2,500 and something people in here today, which literally, oh my God, guys, I think I need to go to a mental institution. I think I'm too deep. I'm too far gone. I'm too deep, guys. I'm never coming back. I'm too deep in TA. Bro, that bull div played out on our analytics. Literally. Unbelievable. Tony the GOAT. Let's get it. But yeah, no, for sure. To the bodies, there is a hidden bull div there. I would agree with you. I'm not agree with you. I would just, yes, that is for sure there. He's lost in the sauce. Actually, 29.28 all-time high. Thanks, everyone. No way. Bro, I have goosebumps right now. I did not know it was almost 3,000 people, but I will tell you this, dude. That's crazy. The bull div played out. That's crazy. An actual bull div. It didn't just look like a bull div. It was. Am I crazy? Am I on an island alone? Guys, it was real. I swear. Yeah, shout out to Andrew, said, you know how this plays out. We'll come back down to fill the wick. I will say, based off money flow, I am going to be looking for shorts if we get a move back up. Now, the question is, where are those shorts going to be, right? Well, for me, I'd probably look at this golden pocket as a pretty key level of resistance. I would also say that's in confluence with the value area high. Congrats, Frankie. Thank you. Yeah, that's crazy. Tony, is that a new all-time high? I'll be honest, guys. I try not to look at the numbers. Being on the internet is crazy, guys. Being on the internet is not good for your mental health. I'll tell you that much. So I try not to look at the numbers too much, but that's crazy. 29.28. That's crazy. That blows my mind. I don't understand that. 1.8K people still watching. Sell signal? Shout out to Finance Research. Maybe. But yeah, thank you all for being here, man. Thank you for smashing the like button and just hanging out with us. This is crazy. I'm going to be thinking about that bull div on the analytics chart for the rest of my life. I'm going to share it in the free Discord, guys. Tony D, send me the screenshots in Discord. I'm going to mark it up and update it with the views that made the all-time high. That is crazy. I want to end the stream right now and geek out over that. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, taking a look at HBAR. Hidden bull div on Bitcoin, absolutely. Shout out to Tony D. But yeah, take a look at HBAR. There it is. Okay, so yeah. Broke the doorway to higher prices, up to the POC, up to the value area high. Again, this is resistance, guys. Nothing goes up in a straight line forever. Doesn't mean the bull market's over, but you get these cool-offs. I will say, I'm just going to call it golden pocket confluence on that POC. There it is. That's not super hard to do. I knew that was going to be there. It's honestly not that impressive. If you look at charts enough, you can kind of eyeball that stuff. But I would say, if you lose this POC, just in general, if you're not looking at the fibs, I would say if you lose this POC, you're looking to come down to the value area low. You do have that local fib, though, right? So, technically you have the 786 at 26 cents. So, you could argue that, that's really the key level that you can't lose. But I would be looking at, this is your range, right? There's no real trade setup here, in my opinion, right? I don't trade in the middle of the range unless you have, a real reason, right? There's situations where I would trade the middle of the range, but it depends. It depends on the situation. For this, I would let things kind of work itself out. There's really no real entry, in my opinion, right? You don't really have any bullish divergences. I mean, I will say this. This is not a trade signal, guys. This is not a legitimate setup. That I'll put it this way. I'm not going to take this trade, but I will say, just to kind of the way I eyeball setups, right? If price comes down and puts in a lower low into that golden pocket, or 786, excuse me, this could set up for a bull div on the 24-minute. Wouldn't even really be that clean, to be quite honest with you. But could be a bull div to be had there, which could make for a scalp position. But to be honest, based off the context of this volume profile, that scalp would probably be into the 786, and then I'd probably be locking in TP at that POC in case we come down to the low. Keep it simple, right? In the volume profile, I don't trade the POC, right, for the most part. I would rather wait for a loss at this level, come down to the low, and then look for longs down here. But yeah, coming from a, you do have a little bit of a bear div on the daily. Nothing really too scary in a bull market, but could easily cool you off a little bit more. And again, I would love cool-offs on the altcoins, to be honest. 2-day red dot printing. Remember, these get stepped on in bull markets. Red dot printed on the 2-day right here. And what happened right after? Big rip, right? So just keep that in mind. But I would love a little cool-off here on algo. I'm sorry, HBAR. Come on down here to the 24-cent level. Reassess the situation. See if we can find some longs. But for the most part, yeah, real key levels, value area low, golden pocket. This would be a big zone to look at. Big zone to look at for a potential bounce. If you lose that, 786 would be next, closer to about 18 cents. Hopefully we don't have to come back down there, but it's definitely in the cards. Boom. So I'll just mark that out so you guys can see it. There you go, 17.6. So yeah. All right, let's see. K-Jam says, shout out to Bruce Buffer. Oh no, K-Jam, you got deleted. You got modded. I was gonna show the like button, but rules are rules. Shout out to I'm My Hero. Are you not allowed to show the like button? Is that against Frankie Candle's policy now? Shout out to 12 Big, says, good to see you in here, bro. He says, Frankie, do you think this next drop when BTC's around 80K, the alts will be stronger? I mean, listen, we can look at history, right? History says when Bitcoin dominance drops, or just in general, Bitcoin is pumping, consolidating, or even sometimes correcting. I prefer consolidating, but essentially, what we know of crypto, right, in general, based off the past cycles, is Bitcoin's the first mover. Once Bitcoin starts to consolidate or even cool off a little bit, the alts, that gives room for alts to run, right? And BTC dominance is what we like to look at for that, right? Right? And here's our key level of resistance, right? We came up on Bitcoin dominance. We got the drop. The alts started to run. So I would be all eyes on the Bitcoin dominance chart, right? The more bearish this looks, probably the better off the altcoins will be. We already printed a weekly red dot. We have a monthly red dot here too. So, and just cyclically, like I could just remember all the times that I've been on Christmas break and just watching all my, like last cycle, just watching all my altcoins rip during the holidays. It's like typically you get the Santa rally, all that stuff. So yeah, I would be really watching the Bitcoin dominance. But yeah, I mean, if Bitcoin pulls back to 80K, I think that is I think that could. I don't know if that means that alts are going to absolutely nuke. Because to be quite honest with you, it's like, I don't know. If it dumps down to 80K, that might be a little bit scary for a lot of people. We might have some panic selling. But, I mean, if Bitcoin even just kind of bing-bongs around here, little break up, move down, come back here, push back up, right? And just kind of like wiggles around in a weird kind of just kind of wiggles around up here, could give the alts some room to run. I'm DCAing into alts. And listen, if it pulls back, I will buy more, right? Like I'm hoping that we could pull back a little bit so I could buy those altcoins we talked about in the altcoin update. But 80K would hurt. Yeah, 80K would be scary. But again, still wouldn't really freak me out. I'm not calling that, but it's definitely in the cards. It's like not out of the realm of possibility, right? Like if we dump down to 80K, right? To be honest, it's like 22%. Like that's kind of light for a pullback in a bull market, right? Like we just measured it. There's a 35% pullback, a 50% pullback, a 20% pullback. Like this is for sure not unheard of. Again, I'm not saying that we're definitely going there right this second. And I'm not saying we're definitely going to get that. But like to just think that this is like impossible to happen is crazy, right? Like it's not that, it's like, or to think that like it's all over if we come down to 80K is, you know, if we start losing 74K, that's where I start to worry a little bit. And there's a reason for that. It's not just because that's a scary level. It's really because of actual technical analysis, right? The reason 74K would not be a good sign, in my opinion, is why? Well, very simply put, do I have that main range still on the I'll just pull it, right? Like if we start losing 74K, like at that point, right? I guess the value area high is not really 74K, but we have these highs here at about 74K, 73K. That's the previous range highs, right? So if we did get a huge nuke here, and all this gets filled, right? And we come down to, 74K, CME gaps gets filled, right? Once we start losing that CME gap, I'd be pretty worried, right? Because not only are you losing that CME gap, but also you start breaking down into these levels, you could get accepted into this macro range, right? Which would, send Bitcoin potentially down to 60 and maybe even lower. So I would be more worried, like if we don't hold that CME gap, I would be starting to worry a little bit. But, we come down to 80K. I'm not panicking over that. Let's see. Okay, so let's continue on. Old high of the range. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to 12 Big. Okay, so let's continue on here. So we did H bar. Let's take a look at Phoebe Coin. Shout out to Phoebe Coin. Did the Hawk Tua girl trigger a top? I literally did. I think I sent that to Tony. I saw that and I said, dude, Hawk Tua. I said this on live stream the other day as well. If Haley Welch, I think I said this yesterday. If Haley Welch has a coin, that is for sure. Guys, let's be honest, right? I'm not saying it's the top of the whole bull market, but every time we see stuff like this, there is some kind of local top. It's everyone's talking about crypto. Everyone's YouTube channel is talking about crypto, even if they're not crypto people. Right? Like we got Jack Doherty doing rug pulls on Pump.Fun. We got Andrew Tate on Pump.Fun. We got like I guess Andrew Tate is like kind of like a crypto guy. So that's not as much like but Haley, right? Like Hawk Tua girl making a meme coin is surely very toppy. I have everyone and their grandma is texting me, asking me for financial advice. And it definitely feels a little toppy. Like you go on Instagram, like all the people I follow that have nothing to do with crypto are making crypto videos. Like all the comedians that I follow are making like crypto comedy. Feels a little bit toppy. But again, we'll see what happens. Cash Oak said, can MACD show divergence like Market Cipher? Yeah, you can look for divergences on a MACD. I don't personally do it. But yeah, you could look for a divergence with a lot of things, to be honest. Dave Digital says, Frankie, when you fart, do you keep it a secret or are you loud and proud? Yo, shout out to Dave Digital. Bro, I thought that was going to be a crypto question. I don't know. It depends on the day. It depends on how much Taco Bell I eat. Shout out to Dave. Loud and proud for me, Dave. Shout out to Jesse. I think she got used by her team who actually rugged it. They used her innocence to rug people on her name. Yeah, I mean, shout out to V-Sun. Crazy. And now I just saw Jack Doherty is out there rugging coins. I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy. All right, let's see. All right, let's continue on here. We took a look at H-bar. What else do we want to look at? Yeah, Render got a big flush, right? We ripped up, tapped that value area high almost to the dollar, got a big dump to the downside. Took a look at ETH, took a look at Solana. Yeah, let's see. There we go. Oh, there you guys. You guys are helping me. ICP. We have not looked at ICP in a while. Sheeb. Yeah, shout out to Elite Waves. We can take a look at Sheeb. Coinbase is 13 on the Apple Store, almost top 10. Yeah, I'm looking at Coinbase creeping up that list in the App Store. You know, usually it's number one. The real top comes in at number one. I don't think, listen, even if this is a recent local top, I don't think it's like the top of the bull market. And again, as someone who's a content creator, I feel some kind of responsibility to be totally transparent. Anything can happen, right? Nobody thought 2020 was going to happen. Nobody thought March 2020 was going to happen, right? But you know, I wouldn't say it's the top. You know, once Coinbase is like number one in the App Store, Robinhood's number one in the App Store, like that's where things start to get really toppy. I think 2025 is going to be, I think 2025 is going to be huge. So yeah, but anyway, let's continue on here. ICP. Shout out to Thomas. Says this is a good channel. Shout out to Thomas. I appreciate you, bro. Welcome to the CandleMafia, my dude. But yeah, I would say probably locally a little bit toppy feeling. It's funny how barren it gets during the bear market. No one talks about crypto, and then all of a sudden Bitcoin starts pumping now. Everybody's in crypto. It's crazy. But yeah, let's see here. So your 3-day money flow looks pretty good here. Starting to get the crossover into the green. I will say here, ICP, yeah, I see money flow crossover into the green. I mean, this looks good over, you know, the long term, right, or medium term based on the 3-day. VWAP coming down. Again, the bearish signals on Market Cypher B are not going to act like they do in a bear market, so it might get stepped on. But that money flow would indicate that the trend is likely to continue up, right? So even if we cool off a little bit, I would expect the trend to continue to the upside, right? Money flow indicates the longer term trend. The VWAP, or the red and green dots, indicate the ebbs and the flows in the market, right? So I would expect this trend to continue up. Key level of support I would look at for ICP. And again, what did we have happen here, guys? You have your lower area of value. You impulse out. You look to fill the upper range. This is your doorway to higher prices. We haven't looked at ICP in a minute. There it is. You break that value. They break that doorway to higher prices. Bing bong, right up to that value area high. Now, once we break out of here, we're looking to attack this high and potentially break out. And again, you know, this would be anticipated. I don't know if you put in a higher low here on the fib, which is the case on a lot of things, right? In this case, you have your low, your high, your higher low right into the 786. The next thing to anticipate here, and again, this is the 3-day, so it might take time, but you would anticipate a break of structure to the upside at some point. So definitely looks pretty decent. But those are the key levels. If you do pull back, POC of the range at about 1289 is your key level of support. If you lose that, I'd be looking down to the value area low at about 1025. And 3-day looks good. 16-hour. Yeah, 8-hour. Yeah, I would just take the longer term analysis on that. It's kind of choppy up here, but you know, you stay under this value area high, I would expect a continued pullback. All right, let's see. So much liquidity is going to get wrecked in the high 30s on ICP. Were people just giga shorting at 30? Yeah, I would pull up the heat map, but we're running out of time here. But yeah, potentially. I mean, that could cause a massive rip to the upside if people were just shorting that thing at 30. I remember when this came out, I just thought it was a scam. I was like, why is this thing just only go down? This looks like a scam to me. I can't believe it made a comeback. ICP is also very heavily pushed by influencers. Worth knowing. I'm not saying it's a scam or anything. I'm not saying it's not going to perform well, but it's just something to take note of. Let's see. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. All right. Can we check Crow. Let's take a look at Crow. I saw a couple. Actually, let's take a look at Sheep, and then we'll take a look at Crow. Just FYI, guys, we are not going to be able to look at every single altcoin. If we do not get to your altcoin, we'll try to get to them tomorrow. But I wish we could just stay here 24/7. Trust me. That would literally be my dream. But unfortunately, I have to live. I have other parts of my life. I wish I didn't, guys. My whole life is getting yanked. And come on, you have to go do this. I'm like, no, I want to stay here. Leave me alone. Let me hang out with the CandleMafia. But yeah, let's take a look at Sheep here. I'm actually going to pull up the live stream chart here because we have a Sheep chart that is already marked up. That's not it. It's this one. That's not it either. This one. Is this not the live stream chart? That's why. Let me see here. Where is the live stream chart? Let me just open the live stream chart real quick. Come on, baby. All right. Sheeb. I think it's the Coinbase chart. Okay. There we go. All right. So, I mean, you're in your upper value area. This is the same thing. It's the same thing on all the alts, right? Almost all of them. Any ones that look like this, right? You get the break out of your lower range. You come in, you put a massive high, you filled your whole range very quickly. Look at the reliability of these volume profiles, guys. It's insane. But we get the big break up. You get the continuation to the downside. You flip the POC to support. You put your higher low in on the golden pocket 786. At this point, like, I would be looking for a break structure to the upside. You have your low, your high, your higher low into your key fib level. Like, just trend-wise, you're expecting a break of structure to the upside in the long term. But that could come, right, in time. This is the daily time frame. Look at the 3-day money flow crossover into the green, right? So it can get a little bit noisy, right? But I would still be looking for this to continue up based off the higher time frame money flow. 4-day money flow crossing over into the green. We don't really have much to go off of here. But yeah, like, these are your key levels. I won't say them because I don't know how many zeros that is. I don't want to butcher it for you. But you can screenshot these levels, Elite, if you want to take a look. Your next key level to the upside, for the most part, is going to be the value area high. Key level to the downside locally is going to be your POC. Bigger level is going to be the value area low. This is what I'd be looking at. But money flow looks pretty good on these higher time frames. Red dot could cool you off, but money flow is king. Money flow indicates the longer-term trend. All right, let's see. Oh, shout out to K-Jam, said it's all good. Enjoy my $20 super chat. I'm prepping dinner for the kids anyway. Pan-fried chicken and oven roasted. Yeah, let me make sure I don't miss that super chat, K-Jam. AVAX Ondo. We can take a look at AVAX. AVAX will be actually no, Crow, and then AVAX will be our last one. All right, let's see here. Let's take a look at. All right, so this is, let me get rid of this, Let's get our bearings here. So lower range sitting right here. Bada boom. Yeah, you do have a pretty low volume gap above, to be quite honest. Yeah, you break into this, you can get a quick move into 33 cents, in my opinion. Right? Break above this, hold it, into that value area low, flip the value area low, go to the POC, flip the POC, look to go to the high. That's the long-term analysis here on Crow. Other than that, like, this is hard to say. Money flow looks good. Money flow looks good. Can you pull back in the short term? Sure. But I would be looking at pullbacks as pretty rare opportunities to get back into these coins, right? A lot of the coins I looked at in the altcoin update, I'm looking for those pullback. Like, I hope for the pullback, but I am DCAing in, right? Like, things like TIA. TIA, I am DCAing. I DCA'd in all down here. We've been screaming this on the live stream at the rooftops, buying TIA down here, right? In anticipation of the break of this range, which we obviously got. But I'm hoping that we could potentially come back down and retest this value area high so I can dollar cost average a little bit more. But I already am in, and I still have my DCA going up here in case we do continue to rip. I don't know how promised it is to get those big pullbacks on the altcoins that haven't gotten the big rips up yet. So I'll see. I'm hoping for pullbacks. I don't know if we're going to get them, though. So, yeah. But on Crow, yeah, there's not much here, right? Like, I'll be honest. You really break the highs that we're at right now. Like, there's a pretty low volume gap into that $33 level, 33 cent level. Start flipping that. I'd look to come into this upper range. 3-day money flow looks good. So, again, doesn't mean you're going to come up in a straight line. But once you break these highs, That low volume gap is probably going to give you a pretty quick send into that value area low, right? Quick moves down oftentimes give you quick moves up. You might be in the process of that potentially. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on Crow. Let's take a quick look at AVAX. Let's see. This is all old. I can get rid of all of that. So yeah, I mean, you're pretty much just in your 2024 highs. Oops. Come on. You're starting to break out here. But this would be the highs that I would look at. Whoops. Boom. You have your value area low, your POC, your value area. Whoops. POC, your value area high. So there you go. And then your next range sitting up here. That brings you up to about 62.91, right? So what happened? Lower accumulation. We got the breakout. You went to approach that previous value area low. Resistance until proven otherwise. You cooled off, came back to test the value area high in the POC. I mean, this is the same setup that we see on almost everything else, right? You have your lower accumulation. You broke out. You retested your value area low. That's where you're expecting price to go, especially before all this was here, right? You're just like, it's the only place you could have gone. But you cool off. You put in your higher low on your 786. You also retested the scene of the crime, which is the breakout area of that value area high. What you would expect here is a break of structure to the upside. Just simple market structure there, right? Like all the altcoins almost look like this exact same setup. Doesn't guarantee that it's going to break the high. You can't just make decisions because of that. But that would be what you would favor, right? Like this is a lot to do with like a lot of the coins that I'm looking at are still in this kind of area, right? Or I'm sorry, still like in this area before that next little breakout. So yeah, I mean, key levels down below. If you lose this is definitely going to be key here, guys. You lose 48 cents. You're going to be looking to come back down to the POC at 35.95. Lose that. Looking to come down to the value area low at 31.82. Simply put. But with the 3-day money flow crossing over into the green, 4-day money flow also crossing over into the green, sometimes these things just go. I would hope that 3-day red dot cools you off if you wanted to get in, but sometimes those dots get stepped on. Again, I showed this earlier in the stream on Polkadot on the 2-day. You get the red dot, what happens? You just continue up. Another red dot, hopefully it cools us off, but it might just go. It's very hard to call on these higher time frames. But, you know, when you're looking at the charts, especially with the altcoins, like look at something like Dogecoin. Look at something like Dogecoin. Here's your 3-day money flow crossover into the green. This called the much bigger move to the upside, right? Let's look at the last three, the one we got before that. 3-day money flow crossover. What happened? Massive move to the upside, right? Let's look at a bull market. 3-day money flow crossover. 70 quadrillion %, right? Just massive rip to the upside. So these in a bull market right now here, it was a little early. Here is typically where we see things go crazy in a bull market. So this 3-day money flow crossover is not to be scoffed at. And then even on a 4-day money flow crossover, these are even more rare. Right, 4-day money flow crossover back here. Start of the parabolic move of Dogecoin in 2017. Right? 2021. Why did I say 2017? It was, I think the date was the 17th. But yeah, parabolic move, right? 4-day money flow crossover technically started here. We got that pullback. But again, guys, it's just high time frame market structure, right? So you pull from the low to the recent high, right? Or I guess it would be this low, right? What happens? You get your change of character. Let's pull up Lux Algo. Where is it? Bada boom. Shout out to Lux Algo. Sponsor of the channel, by the way, guys, if you want to check them out. Link in the description down below. I believe they're doing some fire Black Friday deals as well. But if we look at this, right, on a higher time frame, let's take a look at the weekly. Change of character. At this point, you're changing character on the weekly, right? So you're looking for your candlesticks to turn green. You get the push up. You're looking for higher lows to come in. Where's the higher low likely to come in at? Pull from the low to the high. You're looking at this golden pocket 786 zone. If you could hold this zone and put in a higher low, this is where you look for the break of structure, labeled here by Lux Algo, looking for the break of structure to the upside. This is very similar, right, to what we were looking at on a lot of other stuff, right? Same thing on IOTX. Change of character, move up. Here's your pullback. This is where you're looking for the higher low, right? Like just to bring this in real time, I'll spit a little sauce here for you guys, right? There's your change of character. And again, this is a high time frame. change a character, you get the move up. Now you're saying, hey, what is the lowest I'm willing to have price go before I'm saying this is over, right? The lowest you could go is pull from the absolute low to the absolute high. As long as you put in a higher low, either on the golden pocket or the 786, this would be golden, right? This would say, hey, market structure is shifting to bullish, and you're going to expect a break of structure to the upside. And what happens? You get the push to the golden pocket. You don't hold it, right? You get a little bit of a bounce, but then you come to the 786. You test the 786, and then you put in the higher low. Right? Come on. There we go. Right? And then at that point, you're saying, hey, I'm expecting market structure to shift bullish here. I'm looking for a higher low. Where's the higher low likely to come in? Golden pocket 786. Now you're looking for the break of structure to the upside. Haven't gotten it yet. But on Dogecoin, you did get it. It's the same exact thing. It's the same simple market structure. Right? Dogecoin got it. Dogecoin is a higher market cap coin. Dogecoin is a dinosaur coin, right? As they call it. These are the first ones to go in a bull market. Something like IOTX. Well, I guess IOTX has been around for a while as well. But, right, I think IOTX was around in 2021. Yeah, it was. So, you know, if this is a late mover, like what are you expecting here? A break of structure to the upside. You have your low, your high, your higher low, which again comes in at the key level of your 786 golden pocket retracement, the highest likelihood area to put a higher low in. Then you look for the break of structure to the upside. So it's all the same thing. They're all the same exact setups. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at. Let me pull up chat here really quickly. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. Which indicator are you using? I am, for the money flow, this is Lux Algo. For the market structure, it's Lux Algo. Let's see. Polkadot, we can take a quick look at Polkadot. But we are over time here, guys. We are over time. But they can't stop me. But yeah, kind of the same thing, right? Like now this has 2021 highs. This is a dinosaur coin, right? So what happens with Polkadot? Lower accumulation range, right? We called this beautifully in the premium Discord. I won't even pull it up. But we were looking at it down here at 446 for a huge short squeeze back into this range to fill this range and hole. And it played out beautifully. And then once you break out, you're looking for a push into the value area low. Get above the POC. I'm looking for this thing to potentially come revisit the value area high. I'm not necessarily looking for DOT to 100x to mass some new all-time highs, but I am going to be looking for it to at least fill the last range. Hopefully. That's basically what we're looking for, right? Now, it's a little bit of a different setup here, right? Like we actually, got crushed on DOT here. We never put in that higher low that we saw on Dogecoin. Doesn't mean that it's not going to pump. It's just a different setup. But yeah, this is, when it comes to market cipher, looking at the money flow, weekly money flow crossover into the green. We don't have another weekly money flow crossover to go off of. But if you just compare the weekly money flow crossovers in general on stuff, right? This is like the least noisy money flow crossovers. Weekly money flow crossover on Dogecoin, massive rip. Let's look at Chainlink because Chainlink's been around forever, right? Weekly money flow crossover into the green, massive move to the upside. Actually, this isn't really a crossover. It kind of just starts there. XRP, though. Weekly money flow crossover into the green, massive upside. Weekly money flow crossover into the green, lackluster move to the upside during the 2021 bull market, right? And now markets, weekly money flow is back in the green for XRP, right? And that stands true for Polkadot as well. That money flow crossover on the weekly for Polkadot could be a very bullish sign, right? To potentially come up and fill these ranges. So there you go. Short term, I would look at this chart. This is the chart that I use to catch that fire long position through this local volume profile. Local levels on Polkadot. As you guys know, I took this long. I long Polkadot 2 times. Crushed both those trades. Looking to go above the value area low, which is the doorway to higher prices, to go back up to the POC and the value area high. We got that and went beyond. And then we came back in, went back to the low, back to the high, deviated above, came back into the range. Now we're at the POC. So local levels here for Polkadot is going to be about 1092 for the value area high, 1048 for the POC, and 980 for the value area low. That's what I'd be looking at. And again, that weekly money flow crossover in the grand scheme of the next year looks pretty decent, right? The money flow crossovers, like let's look at let me see. Adam, let's look at a weekly money flow crossover for Adam, right? Like, let's assume this crossed over somewhere like right here, right? And then it winds up taking you 441 days. That money flow stays in the green for 441 days, 448 days until we topped out, right? So these weekly money flow crossovers are huge because once they cross over, oftentimes money flow will stay in the green for a very long time. So keep that. I missed the bear market. Shout out to French Toaster. Let's see. Shout out to Stacy. Stacy, we got you. It's okay. It's okay. Stacy said, "Oh my God, I spammed. Oops, my bad." Accidental spamming is okay as long as you catch it quick enough. But guys, with all that being said, I think that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. We'll see what happens here, guys. We'll see what happens. But hopefully, I was able to show you the seeing that liquidity grab below those lows. Seeing price starting to get a little bit move back to the upside. Actually, let me just show this really, really quickly. Are we back on the screen? Can you guys see? All right. So when it comes to what I'm going to be looking for here moving forward, let's go ahead and pull up our no, I don't want this. I want this. Okay, there we go. All right, so I mean, here we are, right? We lost the value area high. We came to the value area low. Obviously, big liquidation wick. But at this point, you're within this volume profile. I would be looking for price to come up to this value area high. Now, I am going to be looking for shorts on the way up. This looks like it could have been a big liquidation grab, but I'll be honest. With the way money flow looks, technically, and as a technical trader, I have to take with what the indicators are saying with some kind of validity, right? So shorts, I mean, I don't want to say shorts, but resistance. Golden pocket value area high confluence. I could see, do we have an anchored VWAP confluence up here from the high? No. This local high. Yeah, not really. It's not very confluent, to be honest. But this golden pocket is going to be the first level, right? Because number one, it's the golden pocket retracement. So if we're going to continue this downtrend, this could be where we put in a lower high. If we break above it, that's 786 at about 100,899. Is going to be your next kind of key level to potentially reject. But this value area high is key because if we can't get back above this value area high, we are probably going to get stuck in here and most likely go back down to the low. And then if we lose this range, just remember, we have the lower levels of support sitting in this volume profile, right? And we went over this at the beginning of the stream. If you missed it, just scrub back to the beginning of the stream. We covered it all in detail. But yeah, as we get a little bounce up here, guys, I will be looking for shorts on the way back up. And then also, we have the value area low sitting here as well, which is going to be key as well. So yeah, if we don't reject here, look to come up in here. That's your next area of resistance between, I would call it the 100,900 up to about the value area low at about 1018. So yeah. I know these fibs are getting a little bit confusing. But there you go. That's what I'm looking at. That's the context, guys. And with all that being said, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out with us till the end of the stream. Let's see. No, we didn't look at Ondo. Shout out to Jesse. Guys, we can't get to every single altcoin. I apologize, but if we did not get to your altcoin, we will try to look at them tomorrow. We only have so much time. But with all that being said, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss these updates or live streams or urgent market updates that we upload to the channel. And altcoin update is out, guys. Go check that out if you want to know what I'm picking up as far as altcoins right now. And again, the last ones are up at least a 2x, with XRP being up like 400 and something %, at least at the high. But anyway, guys, I'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time. That's all I got. Mrs. Candles is screaming at me. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hasta pasta. Frank Candles out. Bing bong.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving it energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close, I've been up for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
Well, everybody wants to see Ando. I guess we'll take a look here. Let's see what we got going on. Let me actually pull up this Ando chart. Bada boom. Shout out to Ando. Was one of the altcoins that we covered in the last altcoin update. Funny enough, we were looking at it down here at about 80 cents, or I guess 75 cents. Looking for that to break out, get a move into our previous value area, fill that in full. And then when we break that all-time high, we did not know how high it was going to go. And it looks like since that video, they wanted to go ahead and do 33% pump to the current price right now. If that's not a sign to go watch that next altcoin update, I don't know what is. But let me do some quick and dirty TA here on Ando. Ando is on the moon right now. But I'm just going to pull these Fibonacci extensions, hide this percentage here, and very simply put here, guys, we're in those Fibonacci extension targets. We were talking about how it's crazy to see those, like, it's so hard to think they're going to get hit, but they do oftentimes get hit. $1.71, that's kind of what we're playing around with right now. We wicked up to the second one at about 189. Next target to the upside would be about $2.09 if we continue up. And then, I think you probably will get some kind of turbulence there, but once you break above that, you're looking closer to $3. So that's going to be like local targets right now for Ando. Definitely going to be 209 for the upper target. I'll go ahead and put a box on that. Boom. And then $1.89 right here. That's going to be your next major resistance. And right now we're fighting that first level. So continue up. Those are the levels I'm looking at. If we get a big push to the downside for some reason, I would look at the value area high 786 confluence at $1.31 as your key level of support, right? Just pretty simple, right? If you break back down, you're going to be looking at that value area high as support, right? That's your key level of support. I could even get rid of some of these boxes. Why is this locked? Okay, there we go. I can get rid of that. Oh, no, we got to keep that. That's the extension that we're looking at right now. I can get rid of that. Okay, all right, and then we're good. We'll get rid of this. Boom. Okay, so that's what I'd be looking at for Ando. Those are the next targets to the upside. We continue down. Key level, $1.31. Daily red dot printing. Could pull us back, potentially. 2-day red dot looking to print. But again, those high time frame red dots sometimes don't give us what we want them to give us in a parabolic bull run, which we could argue we are about to enter. So, yeah, high time frames looking like they want to cool off. If they do, that's your key level of support, $1.31. If we continue up, those are the targets to the upside. And with all that being said, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, hey, on a roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal